Welcome, everybody, to yet another great day of Street Fighter V action out here at Street Fighter League Japan. My name is Sako. I'm joined with Vicious for Episode 4, Day 2, the second half of the teams coming through. My guy Vicious, how are you feeling about what we're about to see, and what can the viewers expect for the teams coming up?
You know, usually as excited as ever. We get to see one of the top two teams from last year being able to be on the away side with that pressure on the line and the amount of points that they have currently to see whether or not it skyrockets them to the top. But we also have Nobism Gaming also sitting on the away side. For those that don't know, we have 8 teams total here going through at Street Fighter League Japan. But if you are tuning in for the first time, let me break it down for you real quick. We are going through the home and away rule set where the away team has to set their team up in a certain order. They have their player roster as well as their character selection pretty much on deck, where the home team actually gets their opportunity to get these counter picks going as well. So that's what's going to be on the line, with the first match going to be 2 out of 3, second match 2 out of 3 as well, both of those being 10 points each. And if the final match again goes through, it's going to be 3 out of 5, being awarded 20 points to the winner. If there happens to be any sort of ties, we do have a sudden death match, a fourth match that happens where the teams can choose any player to play it out and break that tie. The winner will be awarded 5 points, totaling up to 25. But again, there could be 40-0 sweeps, there could be even 30-10s, which is pretty optimal. So you need as many points as you can to get to that grand prize. What's on the line here, St. Cola?
8 million to stay fine. That is broken up by 5 million, 2 million, and 1 million respectively between first, second, and third place. So you want to be the top spot for that weapon. Also, you want to be the victorious team out here in Japan, to not only be the best team in Japan, but to go on to face the US and EU coming through later on in the season. But we're not there just yet. We're only done with the first month. But today, as you have pointed out, we have FAV Gaming going up against Good 8 Squad. Good 8 Squad, one of the most dominant teams, if not the most dominant team last year, but falling short to FAV Gaming in the end last season. So it's going to be a sick run back like that. Teams are different, meta's different, but you know, that same sort of passion and heat is still going to be there.
Yeah, so really expecting quite the throwdown. Good 8 Squad versus V6 Plus FAV Gaming. I think it's going to be their first time encountering each other thus far into the season, because again, majority of these teams are still getting acclimated to the system. I think we haven't had to see all the matches just yet. There are 8 teams total. So this matchup in particular is going to have a lot on the line, just to see what it's going to shape up to be like in the later end of the season, right, as we get ready for playoffs. So I think for these two teams, whoever takes it, it just might be a big determining factor as to who's going to make it. Let's take a look at Good 8 Squad coming right into it. Of course, it's going to be led by the one, the only, Gotchukun, the Hiroshima Predator with that Rashid. Pugera, the Cosmic Boxer, coming in with Balrog. Part of the next generation, it's Kawano, still rocking it out with that Colleen with an impressive win at EVO this year, by the way. And of course, surrounded out the winning devil, Dogura himself, with the patented Bison. Again, we've talked about this team for a while, a good amount now, for the month of September. It is a brand new month, though, and they're still as strong as ever. Nothing's really changed. If anything, they've gotten stronger.
Absolutely, but again, this is the run back like that. FAV Gaming coming up on the deck. First off, it's going to be the sure spear, always pinpoint with precision. It's going to be Sako leading the charge once again. Right behind that is the genius pro gamer himself with that loot gameplay today. Tokido coming through. Oh, y'all know what to do. The Judgment, Big Daddy himself, Bonchan coming through with another loop, and maybe Sagat, but we'll probably just see the loop. But also the Super Space Sansara himself, Torameshi, new to the team, but still super mean with that sim. And we talked about these teams being super strong. These are one of the picks to do it. However, despite the quality, despite the pedigree that's on this team, they're in 7th place right now. Look at the leaderboard, and that also means that Good 8 Squad is in the top spot at first right now.
Yeah, looking at the leaderboard in general, right, we were taking a look at who needed to get themselves acclimated with points. I had actually misspoken earlier saying Good 8 Squad needed to kind of skyrocket themselves. It was actually V6 FAV Gaming that looked to be in that spot to get as many points as possible, because Good 8's been on a pretty much hot streak thus far. But looking at the current roster, it's going to be Kawano, Gotchukun, and Pugera, and the order is going to be Colleen, Rashid, and Balrog. How do you feel about that?
I like this really well-rounded team. I mean, I feel like if things were switched, you know, Sim would have a big issue with a lot of those characters on this team. But now, you know, being able to have an Evo champion going up, he's been on the bench for a bit since his loss against Johnny with the G. I like him coming up first. I like that Pugera's in that anchor position. We saw how he worked previously. He was able to take that anchor fight against Inaba previously, so I like him continuing that same sort of heat. However, you know, you do have a lot of Lukes on the other side of the squad. You know, you do have a lot of players that can't take on a lot of these characters overall. It's just depending on how they are going to spread out their teams. And it looks like the first player coming up on the home side is actually going to be Sako with the Manat. All right.
I like that. I think that's going to be just fine. I think Minot versus Colleen is going to be just fine. We're talking about some of the normals that Colleen has, how he's gotten stunted just a little bit. I think this is going to be just fine for Sakonoko, the way that he wants to play from mid-range to longer range. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Excuse me.
Yeah,
I'm already just excited for it.
I feel you. This is going to be a sick match. I agree with the fact that, you know, Manat can still kind of control Colleen. I mean, medium punch being whip punishable, you know, is easier for Colleen this season. You can use the EX Parabellum or any of the fast buttons because there's a lot of recovery on it. However, Sako's not the type to whip a lot. He's the type to slug it out with that character and keep a good economy of buttons down. However, this is the Evo champion in reverse. Kawano is a fantastic player. We've seen him work with his Colleen. He's adjusted to the meta. He's adjusted to the patch notes. He's adjusted to the character where you have to play a little bit more aggressive, where V-Trigger is no longer about the robbery, it's about that corner carry, and then putting on the pressure, bring out your good, you know, corner pressure, your good footsies and things like that. So this is still going to be a good scrap. It looks like Dogra was actually planned to play today, but they replaced the spot. What's funny is that I went to Kawano's stream right before this had started, like a couple hours ago, and the chat was asking, are you going to play? Are you going to play? And he said he was going to be the manager. But I guess things have switched with it, and now Dogra is sitting in the managerial duties.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think watching that, I actually didn't even get to see the any sort of the translations or any sort of the chat, but I was actually watching as well. But for the most part, I was thinking about how Kawano has done these last couple of weeks, right? How often has he been able to play? I think outside of week 1, he hasn't really been able to kind of show off his skill set, right? He hasn't really been able to get some of these games in outside of his stream. The last time he played, again, you talked about this earlier, he played against Johnny in week number 1 against Shinobiism Gaming and fell short 0-2, and since then he hasn't really seen any sort of play time. Everyone else, though, has been doing all right. I think, you know, Gotchukun has had a pretty decent streak. Actually, not a streak, but a decent amount of wins. He did fall a little bit short to Itobashi in week number 3. And even in week number 2, I think Dogra and Pugera have been doing just fine. It's a pretty well-rounded team, right? They've had, what, 30 points in week number 1, a 40 ball in week number 2, and 30 points again in week number 3. So there's no kidding as to why they're in the top spot right now. But they're looking like the team to beat, which is kind of, you know, similar to last season, but at the same time, once that playoff spot hits, you never know what could really happen.
Definitely the case. I like them also benching Dogra because he's been on a hot streak himself. Having 3 wins overall, kind of defeating some really strong players, beating Yamaguchi, beating Crush's Birdie, and beating John Takuchi, being really the big breadwinner. At that point, people's eyes are focused on you to get that W. So I like them putting him back a bit, letting Kawano have some shine. But let's go to Sako's stats, you know, winning against Moke, but losing to Fudo's Mika, and also yet to be in an anchor position. I do like him being such a versatile player because he has so many characters, and I think him not being in anchor position is really good too as well, because you have so many characters to rotate. Even though it's with the first 2, having so many options to worry about his Manat, his Kage. If he wants to pull out the set, we may not see. But either way, like, he is such a well-rounded player, and such a god when it comes to utilizing characters in a way that you might not expect. Like we talked about Manat previously when we see him play. He's so aggressive with the Manat play. He's so aggressive with the buttons. Usually people wait for V-Trigger to make their comeback or really kind of put on their game plan. He doesn't wait that long. He'll actually spin that V-bar for V-reversal, V-shift, and things like that. And that well-roundedness overall with his play style just makes him such a strong threat. So getting back in the match, I'm curious to see if Kawano is ready and prepared. You know, his not having any W's, maybe that hunger, that heat to be able to get that W right here for this team, to step in for Dogura to get that win. Let's see if he can actually do so. Sako says he will do his best.
The best is all we can really ask for from either of these players. Really excited to see it. I think, Manat's going to be the pick no matter what, because he's been practicing with this character for a while now. And even with the way he's been playing from week 3, he fell a little short, 0-2, but he was still sticking to this character as well. Even the week prior, in week number 2, he went 2-0 against Moke. And then, of course, in week number 1, he didn't really get to show off his prowess. But to be a different story now. See if he can get himself a winning record. Off to a great start already. We were talking about the mid-range game. I think Colleen being able to blow that up with back roundhouse is a very solid start. A very solid game plan for Kawano against Manak.
Fantastic button. Preemptively stuff that out. Let the Predator system take the wheel. And then you get that medium punch too as you get in that range. So all these buttons are going to be really fantastic for this character. Let's see how Sako fights this out. Still whipping up that medium punch button. But again, doing other buttons in between to not just get right on that medium. It's like EX Parabellum for a punish. Here's the light activation though. To the corner you go.
Not quite there just yet. Ooh, forward throw. It took a while to get him there. Didn't get all the V trigger. Oh boy. Okay, he was trying to get a throw bait. It's the neutral jump, but I'm surprised no orb followed through. Ooh. That was a great track down from Sakonoko, stopping the jump back. And still trying to get a throw bait. I think he's onto something. I think he's thinking Kawano would be susceptible to any of these throw baits. In fact, him that gets susceptible to the throw bait. Kawano making quick moves. The backdash out of that space, so well placed. I gotta say, Kawano off to a great start in round 1.
He also utilized this character very well. We talk about, Sako utilizing him or not, but utilizing that fantastic backdash, how she rears back, which is so different than other characters. She's got one of the best in the business. I love that Kawano utilizing that with the light button, but here we go. Sako with the B skill gets a knockdown, does that EX, and just threatens that space with the placement of the orb. And harassing with those orb buttons right there, with the Fierce 2 as well, but not making it so whip punishable.
Extension off the combo. Oh, you could chase down from that far, Kawano? That was actually crazy. From 3/4 screen, dashing all the way and still getting a Fierce. You are actually in trouble. Sakonoko's actually dead. Ooh, making a bold statement too. He sniped Sakonoko from 3/4 of the screen with an anti-air. That was actually kind of wild. One man Sakonoko had to take off the headset. He's like, all right, guys. All right. It's fine. I got this.
He said, word. Okay. You want to play like that? Go on. You want to play like an Evo champion? Okay, bet. But, I love the usage of how Kawano, once again, is utilizing this character. How always having EX bar to challenge or, make extensions. Utilizing the B trigger, obviously not for robbery. It's not been like that for a while. But just getting that corner carry, putting people in uncomfortable positions, and finding whip punishes, and utilizing those longer reach the normals to get through. Kawano is just suffocating Sako. Let's see if he's got some adjustments. No character change.
Yeah, I don't think a character change is going to be solicited, to be honest with you. I think Sakonoko, although, he went down a couple of times, it wasn't too bad of a beat.
Big read. Uh-oh, stun. You're not lying. Look at that. Got some for the post-stun fun right here. Trying to find the fall. One more mix. Ball's out of here. The crush. Crouch media kick activation. We saw this before. Activation off the crouch media kick has been the tail of the tapes. Back throw. The corner you go. Trying to push him there as much as possible. Get that string. Oh my God, he's in once again.
It's as if he's threading the needle every single time with this V trigger. He finds these openings, and that's going to be close to stun too. If he actually lands the stun, he wins, but I love that from Sakonoko. That was a very important V trigger, because had he not activated, he would have been dead. But Kawano, again, not letting out, not continuing the pressure in the corner. That was a very big decision to make.
The EX connects. I like that. Puts a javelin on him. Better find an opening, and Kawano's pressure in the corner is real ridiculous. You got the back heavy kick to worry about. Her fantastic light buttons and the pokes at play. Doesn't get the throw for the stun. Back throw. Sako getting some distance and some space. being able to play a little more of that zoning game. But here's Kawano dashing in, and again, using the light kick over and over again just to harass Sako.
Man, he's gotten a lot of mileage off of the sweeps, too. I think majority of the sweeps that have been played out in this particular game have landed. Oh, not quite dead. Just about to be, though. Critical art. No, he's not going to spend it. Kawano, big decisions made again. You thought you were going to escape the corner, not in front of my man Yipes. That's usually the play when it comes to this stage.
I can see his face in the background. Shouts to Demon Dan. Shouts to Kawano right here for this corner pressure. EX keeping him locked down on that block stun. EX once again, he's willing to spin that bar to get that stun up to keep the pressure on Sako, but he stuns the needle like that using the EX bar of his own. We see this Monop play right here. Oh, I don't know if he tried to call something, if that was an error, but Kawano going to capitalize. Take him to the East Coast.
Waiting for this trigger activation coming up from Sakonoko, right? That's the big objective. How is he going to land it, though? How is he going to be able to open up Kawano? That's it. That's the one. There's the big hit confirm.
Oh, he will strike back.
Oh. No more orbs.
You
went
hold him?
back down.
Oh my god. EX, oh, but that's going to be a punish. Sakonoko. He's one more touch, one more good throw. One more good back throw, I should say, for Sako to seal it. Kawano can still take this. He's got B-Trigger to play with.
Yeah, that's so scary.
A lot of bars stocked up.
Oh, the whip punish is there. Oh, he could have gotten a little bit more out of that. Setting out the orb, the box one still. A little bit of chip in the anti-air. I don't know what that was from the side of Kawano, but Sakonoko 1000% ready with the anti-air 1-to-1 now.
Now you had pointed out not needing a character switch. You're absolutely right in the case of Sako. It just feels like he needs to understand the rhythm of these backdashes, things like that. Catch him. Use the EX bar if you want to get that maximum amount of range and damage too as well. He's been challenging with the lights and the EX also to get some distance with it, whereas her lights on Wake Up aren't really that dangerous. With the EX bar, you get a little bit more heat with it. So we're all even out. Sako, Kawano.
Oh, I don't know what that could have been. A slight mishap, perhaps, but not too bad for Sakonoko. Still gets a play confirmed. To the recall, to the continuation. Sit him down. Occupying all this space again, just counter-poking before Kawano even wants to get started. We saw the startup with the back roundhouse get absolutely stuffed. Sakonoko's in a very good position to just sit back and wait, right? Let the orb play its game. Send it out, do a little bit of chip damage as well.
Still gets the throw after the whiff though. Kawano looking for the activation, but look at how not active Kawano is. Catches a button, catches him with the EX, puts him down with the B skill. Or double dash, but didn't get the throw, the back throw. And a normal one, put him in a coffin.
I love that micro activation. Get himself away from that throw. We were talking about this activation right here. One more setup. That was actually so good. So good from Sakonoko. He figured, you know, if he can't get people to throw when I want them to, you know, I'll hit him with the crush counter normal. I think that's going to be just as good, catching either delayed normal or a delayed tech. Sakonoko finding the mark within that match point, but Kawano with a giant jump in now. The blocks, sorry, giving him the tick throw.
Just Kawano spin that EX bar to keep him locked up in the corner as much as possible. The jail, no bail. The stun is rising, trying to catch him on the finesse and bless, but here's defense. Oh, the orb recall actually saves him, and now is able to get the activation. Didn't catch him leaving though. Kawano could seal it. He's got the bar at the bottom. Would not like to use it for super, but he has more than enough to seal it. But Sako with the aggression, not let that happen. The jump over with the light. EX Parabellum. Is that enough? Not enough to seal it just yet.
Oh, he actually caught him flinching and he walked into the throw range. Kawano, I'd imagine, yeah, even Sakonoko kind of shrugged it off. He's like, all right, well, that was fine. This is fine. Everything's fine. Kawano, I think he had just instinctually went for a throw, anticipating something from Sakonoko, and got very lucky with it. But at the same time, he still needs to be the closer here. Does get the big opening again. Very similar situation from the last opener. We saw the big giant one with the jump in roundhouse, and now it's just all Kawano. You cannot let this man breathe. no longer in Sun territory. Sako, he's still in trouble though.
He is. The challenge is light. Trying to jump in, counter it. EX connects with the Parabellum. We got after this. The Parabellum right after. That's enough to do it. Kawano still showing that this character, Colleen, can still work. Fantastic play. And at that very end, using that crouching mimi kick to harass him in the corner even more, getting the extension and getting the W. Kawano with the W on his side finally in this league.
Not too bad at all, I gotta say. That was extremely impressive in the adaptation and what he decided to do in the corner. There was a lot of big decisions made from the side of Kawano that led to a lot of his Ws. And Sakonoko, again, you see the adaptation little by little, but I think towards the end, one of the few things that actually caught him off guard was just his pretty much placement in regards to like those final moments. Like he kind of like misstepped a little bit and got thrown out of place. But other than that, I think he had a pretty good start. One jump in though is all it really takes from Kawano is what it looks like. Those two big jump in roundhouses led to those round victories, and I think that's something that Sakonoko needs to consider going forward. But I don't know how often he'll get that chance again against a Titan team like Good 8 Squad, because again, this is they only meet up twice in the season, right? Taking a look at the stats here in regards to the anti-air department, not too bad at all from both sides. EXDP, we don't see it from either side, of course. It is Colleen and it is Minot, so you're rarely going to see that. In regards to the grabs and throws, we see a lot of attempts from the side of Sakonoko and not as many from Kawano, but we've seen which ones have landed and which ones have been teched. So again, very important tool to note as to how many of these throws had landed for Kawano, because that was a pretty big signifier as to how he got these Ws.
There's also the jump-ins. Like, you see 3 of the jump-ins not anti-aired right there. A lot of them were anti-aired, but the 3 that did not get anti-aired, or the 3 that got it done, the jump heavy kick, the jump light kick, coming up these angles where it's hard for Minot, and she really has to be committal with it, even when she has the orb equipped, where it helps out her range, where it helps out her extensions, things like that. I still like the timing that Kawano had put on, especially at the end, where he taken up the table a bit. And also, I feel like Kawano's game plan is just being a lot more aggressive. I feel like it's hard because you're getting battered with these buttons off the mediums and things like that, stopping from coming in. But he held his aggression and held his ground instead of just going for these back dashes. Kept aggressive with it, kept getting the jump-ins, and got his W with the 10 points of the board. We have Gotchukun on the Good 8 Squad side of things. We'll see who's going to come up to fight against Gotchukun. I think any of the Luke's players would do fantastic against this character. So, you know, I think that's still a great matchup for Luke, as most matchups are for that character. If not 5-5, if not more than that. And how well that Gotchukun has played against the Luke players in Super League, but not only Super League, but just even in, you know, ranked or just in general, how he has like a game plan. You're going up against someone like Tokido. You're going up against someone like Bonchan possibly. But it looks like it's going to be Tokido, the one, the genius pro gamer himself, up to bat.
I had a feeling it would be Tokido, to be honest with you. That's always been, I feel like, back and forth between Tokido and Gotchukun. Even from last season, Tokido was the one to kind of step up to the plate against, you know, Capcom Cup champion. I think it's one of those things where I think V6 plus FAG kind of realized, like, we want to give you the opportunity to face off against the best Tokido. Like, it's always been like, you know, we understand like you're hungry for these Ws. We understand like your motives and stuff. So we're gonna give it to you on this one. But if you fail, we're gonna talk you through it. No, I'm just kidding though. Yeah, this is gonna be the only time they get to really snipe out the counter picks. So I think sending Tokido's Luke is gonna be a very strong choice. This man has been actively grinding this character on Hitbox, and we're really looking forward to seeing how this is gonna play out.
I am too. Looking back at his previous results, his Luke play has been fantastic. In fact, his 2 wins against Mizuha's Cody and Daruku's Akira have all been Luke. He lost to John T's Cody. However, that was with Urian. So again, this is exciting as you to see this Luke play. You know, one of the more pestering type of Luke players. He loves to harass people with his buttons. It's not really about like big confirms and things like that, harassing with lights and things like that, the mediums and stuff, just to get you off your game. Gotchukun says with Tokido grand finals, he lost against him. He'd like to win this one. Tokido says the Rashid match, he's practiced thoroughly. He would like to win this one too as well. He prepped himself. We'll see who has the better preparation up in this match.
Yeah, I'd imagine there's a lot more preparation on the side of Tokido in regards to like how to play the Rashid matchup. Again, this character's been around since season 1. On the side of Gotchukun, I don't recall as to like how often he's been like streaming, but I'm confident he's got enough Luke practice over in Japan to figure out how this character works. Overall, I think this is going to be one of those matchups where I think Tokido is going to be the one pressured here. I think Kim rocking out with new peripherals, new characters also is going to be the big challenge here, because sometimes you may not get exactly what you're looking for, at least with the quarter circle forward motions, or quarter circle motions in general are going to be a little tough on a hitbox in comparison to playing someone like Urian. I think his Urian is fantastic on hitbox. Not to say his Luke isn't fantastic on hitbox, but things can go haywire where you're not able to get some of these inputs precisely, right? So that could be a factor. Could not be, or could be not. We'll see how it plays. But as it stands right now, Gotchukun does have the losing record against Tokido. So we'll see. We'll see how much he's practiced against this Luke.
Yeah, I mean, Gotchukun has at least played one Luke up in the league so far. He's won against Fujimura's Luke in the anchor position. And then he went on to defeat Gunfight's Alex, but lost to Itabashi Geef previously. So he's got like a 2-1 record, so that's pretty good. But he's got a little bit of practice up in this league. But when I do watch him stream, I do watch him play some of the other Luke players that are in Japan. And there's so many, even outside. You have people like Jazzy who have switched from Akuma over to the Luke side. And there's plenty more players out there. I think Japan might be the land of the Luke, to be honest, when it comes to become out, even more so than the US and EU. No, Gotchukun. I'm sorry, Gotchukun fighting Luke players, my bad. But fighting Luke players, he's got a lot of practice with that. On the side of Tokido, though, I mean, like, for him, like, we definitely see him streaming quite a bit, and I do think he does have that practice. I've seen him play a lot of Rashid players too as well. Maybe not as many as the Luke players, because some of the people have kind of pushed that character to the side, which I'm not sure why. We do see maybe the majority of the Rashid players out here in the league. But that's still a very strong character, and Gotchukun has shown that time and time again. We've seen that at the CPT qualifiers in the top 8 spot and things like that. Let's see if he can drop someone like Tokido, though.
Yeah, I think, Rashid is still going to be just as effective. And if I ever see a Rashid main drop a character, it's usually towards Luke. Like, I'm not going to lie. I think I've seen that happen more often than not. Because, yeah, I think Rashid is more than effective in any sort of matchup. I think his general playstyle is, it may not be, as potent, but it's still going to be, good enough to get the job done majority of the time. But we'll see how that plays out, right? I didn't get to see Gotchukun really practice this out on his streams. I've actually been watching a lot of Tokido streams where he'd be playing, he would put it out on the Twitterverse, where he would try to get some of these games going with people in like lobbies and stuff. So majority of the time I've seen Tokido play, but we'll see how it plays out for Gotchukun.
Yeah. Talk about this matchup, there is the view reversal challenge that you could do against the V-Trigger that harasses people, that dominates the neutral. We usually have to play Luke. Having escape view reversal is really good against Luke. So we'll see how this is utilized. And not only that, I feel like the buttons are not too bad on the side of Rashid. It's just the damage differential. Luke just dumps it out. Rashid, he needs to put you in the corner. He needs a lot of bar. Or he needs something like V-Skill 2, which is, not going to be utilized in this match. So, and he pushed him in the corner. Already round start, though. Tokido off the medium and the throw. Back against the wall is Gotchukun.
I love the escape off of Tokido, just continuously going airborne. But now it's going to be Gotchukun. Trigger activation. EX rising uppercut. Get off of me. Oh, that exchange was so good for Gotchukun up until this point. Oh, man. Yeah, I was going to say, I think the damage output was there, but being in that position at the deficit, when you have that trade happen, it just makes you closer to death, and that was just really unfortunate.
The better lead right there, Tokido. Challenge on the dash in. And one of the things you see right there is the ESTP, the reversal situation, just way better on the side of Luke. Has a real way to bust out. For Gotchukun, for Rashid, just a lot weaker this season, but he does have the 3 frames that he can wake up with and lead to the Eagle Spike, as you see right there. EX bar, good challenge right there for Tokido, knowing the gap and not trying to get pushed up in the corner. That wing condition situation, that jump heavy kick, deleting that crouch medium punch from Gotchukun. He has labbed out so many answers.
Yeah, being able to outplay the anti-air is so important. We've seen that tactic a couple of times over, even in the States. see him fight out of the corner now. Tokido does have trigger on deck, but no, sir, the neutral jump is not going to be available as an option. Gotchukun had that covered. Rising, Flash Knuckle does get blocked. I don't know if Tokido was thinking he might have had to confirm, but I'll tell you what, that was pretty crucial. A pretty crucial error for the side of Tokido.
Definitely looking to find your way out of the corner. Those mistakes, like by someone like Gotchukun, the Capcom Cup champion, one of the Capcom Cup champions, I should say. You outside the corner, again, neutral jump denied, damage applied, the side switch. I love that. Heavy mixer drops around the ground. And again, the positional advantage is so important right here. Gotchukun knows that. That's why you see him go for these combos, just to get the side switch, just to put the pressure on Tokido. Wait, you have to worry about the wake-up decisions, the 3-frame, the DP.
Oh, the big interruption too. No free EX whirlwinds for you to continue the pressure, and I love that from Tokido, but he's still stuck here. Gotchukun is doing a great job of keeping himself spaced out, so he's not within any sort of threats of a medium or even a raw activation afterwards. We'll see again. Oh no, we were talking about being within medium threat range. I thought he was going to be able to continue the combo. Oh my god, yo, spaghetti everywhere. What is happening with these two players?
Gotchukun says 5-second rule, I'm still gonna eat. As he defeats Tokido for this first match, I'll tell you, as you pointed out,
I don't know, man.
Definitely a lot of spaghetti everywhere.
Spaghetti on the floor after 5 seconds? I'm leaving it there, man. Heck no, I'm not doing it. I don't think anybody would want that.
Oh man, Gotchukun, that light kick activation, as you said, I thought that was going to reach too, like having the mixer right after it. And I like that option to activate from that non-committal button. You know, you try to harass with medium kick, we saw it get sweep with punish. You try to get, you know, two options with crouch fierce and things like that. I like that button, but just wasn't able to convert. However, he was able to stay solid in that scramble situation and take it. But Tokido's like a few confirms away for it being his day. It's a few confirms to find the finish, because Luke is never out of it. We've seen the damage that this character can dump out. All it takes is a few hits to do it. And all it takes is just Tokido shoring those moments up a little bit better.
Yeah, there were a couple of moments where Tokido had tried to fight out of the corner, thinking he had to confirm, not able to maximize out the damage, or also even just getting blocked straight up. Those were pretty, I don't know, very unorthodox from the side of Tokido. I think there were a couple of maybe like outliers, or sorry, a couple of factors that may have been out of his control as to why he missed those confirms. But as it stands right now, he cannot afford to do any more of that. Again, we've seen Gotchukun take advantage of some of these mistakes, hit as hard as ever, and then keep you back in that corner. You cannot, like, once you get the once you get the big opener against Rashid, against Gotchukun specifically, you cannot let go.
Absolutely. Do not let your foot off the gas and let him pass. But right here, Gotchukun dashing in, counter situation right here. The Oki off the target combo. One of just the best things again off of Luke's toolkit is the fact that he gets so much. And nice DP as an anti, catching the jump back heavy kick. But here is Tokido back in action. Trying to find an opening up the crouch kick. Back to the mid screen. This is where you want to be.
Oh, that's a big crush counter. Roundhouse. The juggle up afterwards. Oh, some amazing sequencing here from Gotchukun. Yeah, the stun. You already know. I gotta say, man. Once Gotchukun got that big crush counter, I was feeling real scared for Tokido.
Getting real spooky out here in the season of Street Fighter League, as Gotchukun is sitting on set point and really showing not only how he's up against his character, but just like the tendencies of Tokido. Trying to jump back, I got a DP for right for you. There's the confirm though, we need to see from Tokido. Ends it with a medium knuckle. Trying to push him into the corners to make him see how it feels.
So far so good for Tokido. We're starting to see the attempts for the trigger activation coming from the side of Gotchukun with that roundhouse, but it does come via skill 1. Being tested out. Gotchukun is really starting to see whether or not Fudo is going to react to any sort of movement, but he is measuring it out with low medium kicks and standing medium kicks as well. So Gotchukun has the right idea. Infiltrates Tokido's defense. Now he's stuck in the corner. What happens now? The big wake up button, crouching jab into the full conversion now. He's not going to spend it for critical art. He's saving it. He's a very confident man. Tokido, had he spent it, it would have been the round that was pretty much over. Yeah, nice and easy target combo into the thermal barrack.
Had the feature to back himself up. Stays off that set point here from Gotchukun, and now uses the X Fireball. You see Tokido also just getting a lot more aggressiveness in general with the buttons, with the dash-ins, and when he is on defense, when he's knocked down, you see him challenge with the light punch every so often instead of just taking all the throws and things like that. So he's rotating his defensive options very, very well. My man did the raw upper that had to have been a miss input, but still able to get that hit.
Counter hit off of the forward medium punch to extend the combo. The whip punish against the low medium kick. It is a lot more susceptible to those whip punishes now.
Cross got DP from Gotchukun. Still a lot of bar to work with. What attack. But the hits connect with the medium. Tokido has everything he needs to win.
And he hit confirm to do it for either one of these players. Hit confirming the critical art. More than enough damage. Still looking for it. Oh, that could have been it. There it is. There it is indeed. Gotchukun going 2-0 against Tokido. Man set himself on a mission to find that W against Tokido from last time, and he does so successfully. That's gotta feel great. And the big confirm that come with it. Again, we were talking about that situation being within medium ranges. He was trying to tread softly, but Tokido's the one that got.
Tokido will drop. Looks like Tokido is the one that's going to be losing today. Right now, the W goes to Gotchukun. I really like the fact that we saw Gotchukun acclimate, adjust to the new game plan of Tokido. Tokido getting a lot more aggressive, swinging with them buttons, but you point out that crouching mini kick, a lot more whip punishable. You do have to find the right button depending on the character that you have. Like for Bison, it's fierce. We saw that before. But for Rashid, it looks like medium punch. Looks like crouching mini kick. All work perfectly well against a character like Luke. And again, Gotchukun, a lab rat. Just the best all-arounder when it comes to Rashid. Probably the best Rashid player still in the business. Still keeping this character and still showing how strong that character is in any matchup. Even the matchups where you have the new top tiers out here with Luke, still making it happen, making it work. 2-0 against someone like Tokido. Wow. Seems to be talking to Tokido after this one.
Yeah, really curious to see what Tokido has to do to stop somebody like Gotchukun. It's been very, very tough to see how to get himself out of the corner in most situations. But for the most part, let's take a look at the stats, right? We have, again, even though there's a lot of 100% on the board for Tokido, it didn't really lead to much. It didn't lead to that success that we were expecting. But on the side of Gotchukun, the numbers may not be as impressive, but getting the W is all that matters at the end of the day. And I gotta say also, we were talking about being within that medium range. I think Gotchukun had pointed out successfully against Tokido. Had done a great job of suppressing him overall in regards to like the neutral phase of the game. Trying to get around, crouching medium punches, crouching medium kicks. I think those are the biggest tools that Luke can have to play against the character. So very, very well done from Gotchukun. We're gonna move on to the final anchor moment. 20 points on the board from Good 8 Squad. Pugera, it's all up to him to get another 40 ball and see if that's possible. But that leaves us with a decision to make from the side of V6 plus FAV Gaming. Is it going to be Bonchan coming up next, you think? Who do you think it's going to be?
I feel like Bonchan's got to go up. I don't like Torameshi up in this match. I don't like Sim versus Balrog. A lot of these Sim players have professed how bad that matchup is, being able to V-skill through the fireballs and things like that. The -4 situation being hard for Sim to really get in a decent punish against. So it's going to be Bonchan Luke going up on the deck, and you see Pablo Bonchan already ready and steady to prepare to get someone like Pugera. But we look at the stats of Bonchan right now. He won against Itabashi Geefs G, but lost to Mago his Luke mirror match, and then lost in the first to death right after that in that same Same set of matches right there. So he definitely wants to get some more points on the board. At least get that 2-2 right there in terms of his scoreboard. But take a look at Pugera's matchups. He beat Inaba in the anchor match, then beat Nauman for the 10-point match against his Luke and Laura. So he's sitting at 2-0. So he's also one of the bigger breadwinners on his side of his team. Doing a lot of work with that Balrog play, with the more defensive style that we've seen thus far than maybe other Balrog players, and even him himself has said that he is like learning how to be more defensive against like characters and stuff like that, having better defensive game plans, and it's helped him stay solid on these matchups.
Yeah, looking at its overall record, he's technically, yeah, he is undefeated. Not technically. There's no technicality behind it. It's just straight up. He is undefeated in regards to how his matchups went both in week number 2 and week number 3. And it's pretty impressive the way that he actually had taken it down, right? There have been, back and forth between himself and Inaba from week number 3, and then you mentioned it earlier with Nauman in week number 4. Sorry, vice versa. Week number 2 and week number 3 is how it went. But going against this matchup in particular, Pugera versus Luke, I would say like it's a little bit more difficult to kind of bob and weave past anything like a Sandblaster, right? Holding down tap or even having V skill 1 is going to be a problem. So I think I'm curious to see if Pugera is going to stick true to his style of V skill 2. Although he hasn't really shown that off as much in this season, it's still a question that needs to be asked. But for the most part, I think Pugera very well versed in any sort of matchup that requires any sort of zoners, any sort of fireball as well. He's dealt with it all, right? He wouldn't be here if he hasn't. So we're gonna see. Currently sitting at 100% win rate, and on the other side, with Bonchan, 1 out of 3 in his current win rate. Right. We do have a couple of words coming in from both, right? From Pugera saying, "This away game, I knew it was going to be a tough game. I'm playing anchor. Last year, I lost against Bonchan. I would love to win." And then Bonchan coming in from his side, never thought we were going to lose those first 2 games. If I take this and win another 5, we'd be okay. So he's already talked about it, right? If he gets this W, he might go back and play into the sudden death match.
We talked about this last episode, where these players are prepared for that if it does come to that. Idazan especially was prepared for that. He was training for that first one. He was prepared for that. So let's see if that will come to fruition or if it's going to be a good 8-squad sweep. Let's see if they are on janitorial duties out here at FAV Gaming. Try to play spoiler to that. Anchor match, Bonchan versus Pugera. Let's get it.
There's going to be the V-Skill 1. It's V-Set 1 overall from Pugera. V-Set 1 as well for Bonchan. And I'd imagine, like, if I'm Bonchan, I'm looking for how often Pugera keeps himself charged for a dash punch, but from that little back and forth commotion that he was doing in the corner, I think there would have been a decent time to maybe get like a couple of Sandblasters in, or at least maybe even a V skill. But that's the key. I think that's the key for a lot of these charge matchups, a lot of charge character matchups, is look at their feet, right? Let's see how often they're moving forward and attempting to go for like any sort of post. Because if they're not charging, you're able to throw a fireball, technically.
That's true. Only get really bottom is tap, but just like that, the 3-piece fist to face right there, the first one to Pugera. And I love that he's so aggressive with dash punches. We haven't even seen the threat. Whoa, the bumper god right here from Bonchan. The back medium punch, getting the charge knuckle right after. Hold up. Bonchan says, I'm not done yet. Not even close.
Oh, missing the mark. Maybe he thought it was too far to get a flash. Wasn't confident in it. And the screw upper coming in from Pugera as the anti-air is so consistent.
Best ever do it with the anti-airs. Do that so many times throughout all these seasons. Pugera sitting in a fantastic with a lot of X bars they're just threatened with. The X low, there we go. B shifts away from the back medium punch.
I love that. I was gonna say kind of creeping up with this range. Pugera throwing in some of these cards from medium punches. With Bonchan with the patience to sniff that out. I was gonna say it. To move it though, it's a whole different story.
Look at that. Pugera just needs like one good fear. So I think come through with the EX. Here's a hit and a back throw. Yo, Bonchan with the positional advantage. And he's got the bar at the bottom to bring this right back. Get a hit like that for the super. It's a weather the storm of V-trigger.
That was a big whiff. That could have been a big punish from the side of Bonchan. He didn't actually get the opportunity, and that is actually just as good. A light conversion into the flash knuckle for the full critical art. More than enough damage because of minimal damage. I gotta say, that was too close for comfort for Bonchan. As expensive as that was, it was absolutely worth it. No buyer's remorse here. He's willing to spend that cash.
Cash in, cash out right here. You're gonna get that bar back in this next round, especially if you're just harassing these fireballs, but you'll fall to the fist, the crush, and that D-skill extension right there from Pugera. That's with these mediums. Target combo, that's punishable, yes sir. Make sure you have that hit. Sweep off the feet, caught him with the throw. This is the revenge of Bonchan. The walk up too as well.
A couple of these dashes have been snuck in by Pugera, doing a great job too, kind of conditioning Bonchan to expecting the moment of the walk up happen, but Bonchan being as patient as ever. Actually caught the dash low from Pugera. And still, a lot of these dashes going completely unchecked. I think Pugera's done a great job of masking his movement. He's been so sneaky thus far. And, you know, as sneaky as you can be, Bonchan, as long as he gets that hit confirmed, he'll be just fine. Actually finding the mark this time. The low forward does not just rock by itself. And I love that from him. Even from that range, being able to hit that EX Flash Knuckle, so important. That's the first W going in the anchor match in favor of Bonchan in this loop.
That's a big W too. The momentum Pugera was rocking with was type deadly. So I like that Bonchan took it back from the brink like that, got aggressive with it, found those hit confirms that he needed, caught the whiffs on the throws, and had a punish though, and stayed real solid. And we saw him spin that bar for the CA to stay in play. We saw him spin that bar, but hey, that's A-okay. You've got the ability to get that bar back. You really don't need Super to dump out damage with Luke. You're going to be just fine in a lot of these situations as long as you have even just one EX bar. You've got the V-trigger for Pugera to really worry about where he can't even V-skill, even if he wanted to, even if he wanted to get predictive with it and reactive at the same time and just try to be on point as possible. It's going to be really hard to get through that fireball that comes through from V-trigger too, or V-trigger. So Bonchan doing fantastic right here. Pugera's going to have to be a little bit careful about how he comes through. I like how you pointed out how he wasn't dashing a lot. Like, that movement was great. It's just he needs to get better about the economy of buttons and not be sticking out things that are going to get with punished or, you know, check on the dash when it does happen.
I feel like he didn't even get his dashes checked as often, right? I think he's gone for the dash a couple of times over throughout this entirety of that match, or not match, sorry, for that game specifically. And yeah, a lot of them went unchecked. I think most of the time where he actually got hit with low forwards is because he was walking backwards or like walking forward. I think trying to be within that range for Bonchan was great. Oh, you just stuffed him out of the dash punch? What?
Luke getting so many good things off these exchanges, off the 3-frame. Man, he's so ready. Coming to target, come off the medium. Up throw. And this corner pressure. And yeah, you got to get out of there. I like that target combo challenge right there from Pugera. Being in the corner against this character is deadly. You have the medium pressure to worry about, the conversions, clips him walking back like that. Now this is Pugera's time to catch him lacking with the EXDP.
So much risk behind it too. That could have been the great equalizer for Pugera, being able to block that, but wasn't able to. Yeah, the amount of chip damage that's going to come from this is going to be pretty significant, I feel like, but also that's going to cost a lot of trigger if he actually commits to it.
As you see there, the gray life. Watch out for a way to activate.
Unchecked. Again, still unchecked. And that's going to be more than enough, I feel like. Oh, I guess not. Okay, maybe not.
Dash in right here for Pugera. Resets the situation against the 3-piece for the finish.
Again, a lot of these dashes
just some of these dashes
remaining unchecked, and it's so difficult to be honest with you. Like, I think Pugera's done a great job of just again walking in and out of the ranges where he wants to throw in crouching medium punches, and he gets stuffed. He actually gets counterpoked by Bonchan, which is pretty significant because again, Pugera has just been hovering around that range so often for free.
Bonchan right back in, even at that crest situation, even at that damage situation, trying to keep Pugera up in the corner. You see it back off enough where that fireball is not punishable. Very smart play. Back medium punch gets a counter target combo down to the ground, and that's Oki. That's continuous damage, and that's a throw right after the EX plus frames off the fireball. The challenge on the activation, Bonchan trying to not let this slip through his hands.
Looking for a slight normal. That's why he's fishing with that standing roundhouse. Pugera still needs to find an opening. He's not able to. That standing medium kick is going to be a lot, and that V reverse is going to be even more critical art territory for Bonchan. Actually, can possibly get himself a chip damage scenario. Ooh! Pugera actually gets punished. He committed to the dash punch. A little bit too close. Bonchan does get the punish.
The 3-4, the 3-frame punishes for this character are so good. That light punch button into light knuckle, or if we can't get the distance, the target combo. Very difficult to space that out where it's not going to be a problem. Pugera does have him up in the corner. No upper. Does find the anti-air with the medium and the throw. Caught him. V-shifting. Where are you going? Try to reset the situation. Gets us done. Pugera getting it done and bringing it back with a perfect Pugera reading all the defensive tactics of Bonchan.
I'm curious as to why that V-shift even happened in the corner. You saw Pugera walking backwards even before Bonchan had gotten up, so he had done it preemptively. He made it up in his mind. He's like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go for this this V-shift and hope for the best. And Pugera sniped it out. He's like, you're doing what now? I'm going to punish it. And that's actually super impressive that he actually catches the tail end of the V-shift for the proper punish. That was just great timing and great awareness, too. Getting ready for any sort of option on Wake Up. Really.
See Bonchan go for such a committal option on Wake Up is kind of staggering. I think that might be telling that Pugera's starting to rush him down quite a bit, and round start looking really great. Pugera well spaced with that -4 up in his place. Slight whip, one shouldn't have the charge. You see him walking back like that. Fourth, too as well, losing the charge, but I still like him harassing against these normals, making sure to just deal as much damage as possible whenever possible. Ooh.
Starting things off in a very proper manner, I guess, pretty offensive manner. Bonchan, although in the deficit, does have the trigger locked and loaded. Still trying to find an opening against Pugera, but he's got it locked down, right? He's not moving as much. If he has his life lead, oh, but he gets counter poke. Spoke too soon. Forward throw. Looking at pull it out in life. That's huge! Actually getting the big whip punish. Pugera, you already know. Finishing the rest up with that V-trigger.
His defense in the corner. Season after season, match after match has gotten better and better. Choosing just to wait, find that whip, hit the hit. Back medium punch doesn't get the fierce right there. Follow up, use Pugera. Answers back immediately. Other bar at the side of Bonchan is going to use that for the EX. Corner carry with the DP, of course. Still some more bar to play with too as well.
Off. We'll take that here. As long as it pushes Pugera to the corner. That was a very delayed tech. Very, very critical for Bonchan not being able to get back over to the corner. That would have been so much more for Pugera. But look at this. Yeah, the -4 punish on the dash punch.
Here with the dash in activation situation. I like this. Corner carry actually going to go for the back throw. It would have took him a lot more of the V-trigger bar to take him to the other side of the screen, so I like that back throw situation. Bet it all and could make him fall. If he finds an opening, V-reversal though for Bonchan gets the space. And Bonchan knows it's a one good touch situation right here. And it's clear that's going to be a whip punish with the medium kick. Game to game, round to round right now.
That was Pugera trying to fish for any sort of normal as he walked up, but a little bit too hopeful. Bonchan was ready with the whip punish, just standing still, or at least moving backwards. Now it's going to be, again, final round here, or at least final round for this game between these two. It's a big whiff punish off the standing fierce, but nothing big off for that afterwards, because you can't really. So, not too big of a problem from Bonchan.
Running with that medium kick. Actually, him coming with that light. Hands are out for a little bit too long. The tech though, Pugera backing off a bit for that charge. And again, to harass him in the corner where he gets just broken down on defense. Bonchan's got to play this, has to play this better than how he did before. How he was challenged with that wake up B shift. He's got V-bar to make the comeback too as well. Pugera catching the whip. One more good decision. You dash in. EX situation, the trade.
Jeez. This guy's phenomenal. Pugera again, just stacking so much chip damage. Normal after normal. That was quite impressive. I didn't know from deep within you could actually get like crouching medium punch 3 times over to apply extra block. Sorry, just to apply extra pressure. That's kind of beefy, man. That's how I haven't seen that used a lot actually from Balrog.
Yeah, his bar play, not only with that, with the spacing of the -4 situation of the dash punch, has been a lot better too as well. And he's been able to push Bonchan in the corner in these situations where it's like at the end of the game, where we see him also focusing on corner play in general. We saw him reset with the throw pressure, with the back throw, because he knew if he pushed Bonchan to the corner to the left side of the screen, we could take up way too much V-bar. So he said, I'll go for the back throw, and then I'll just continue my pressure there. And overall, just the way that he's playing on defense, and now also on offense when he has him in the corner, has been fantastic. It's catching Bonchan off his game. It's making Bonchan feel unusual, where he's whipping buttons, where he's not able to, find his way out. We saw him challenge after that EX dash punch. But now we're seeing Pugera up 2, looking to get revenge in the situation.
It's very, very dangerous for Bonchan, the way that Pugera has been adapting to a lot of the counterpull game that Bonchan has presented thus far. I think going with it now, I think there's got to be some decisions to be made on defense where he's not committing to certain options. As scary as it is, you just got to stand there and just kind of take the brute force and block against Pugera, which is a scary feat. A couple of players from the US have been in that position before. He is actually a phenomenal offensive striker. It's just so scary to deal with. But again, Bonchan just has to deal. We'll see how he actually does so. But movement is the key right now. Look at the amount of movement that Pugera has kind of opted to, going back and forth and opting for these dashes as well, forcing you to whiff any sort of buttons, and also feel that false sense of security, thinking you could fireball. He's done a great job thus far of countering so many different options that Bonchan's presented.
He's in and outside that range of that -4 situation as much as possible. Again, as you pointed out, using that movement to make Bonchan feel like he cannot get that whip punch. He cannot stay in that range where he can harass these buttons. And then you have to worry about the EX bar utilized to catch a whiff. But even without the EX bar, he's still staying with it. He's still being able to stick out these normals and harassing Bonchan in a way where he cannot play. He's no activation, didn't have the bar at the bottom, but still, Bonchan, the better off the situation, get the DP follow-up, try to find an opening up the crouch medium kick. Wasn't able to do so. Pugera still in the lead. Still with the EX bar to threaten.
Ooh. We haven't really seen that tap exercise thus far up until this very moment of the match. I gotta say, that could have been super dangerous. Could have been near death.
The super. That could even things out, but he's doing it as much as possible because the time is winding down. 50 seconds on the clock. Dash in. You got to make the best decisions right here possible. That's 10 seconds on the clock right now. Pugera with the back throw on the dash situation puts him at set point. Revenge. Look, it's in his sights right now. He sees the finish line.
I was curious as to why Bonchan had dashed up and not pressed the button afterwards. Actually got himself such a good throw. Either way, firing right back is Pugera. Even on wake up, the sweep connection. You already know if you actually get that sweep going, that would have been so dangerous. Pugera's turn. Back throw.
Now we're gonna wake up with the lights. Side switch with the Pugera getting the counter hit. That will do it. He's got the bar at the bottom. You know it's about the CA. No, not just yet. Make sure it's done.
I wonder why.
I
wonder
that
why. Is he playing with him? That 100% would have killed him.
Playing with his food? But it did it.
He trying to?
Pugera.
I'd imagine he's trying to make a statement. He is 100 trying to make some sort of statement. Pugera's just trying to play, is what it is.
Bison win.
And that's going to be Pugera.
Man, looks like Bonchan was not able to play today. Moving on and taking down Bonchan. Oh.
That was actually quite impressive, I gotta say, from the side of Pugera. being able to close it out in that fashion and still kind of like play with his food a little bit. But overall, that was swinging for the fences towards the end from Pugera. Bonchan's got a lot to think about in regards to how that matchup is going to be played, especially with the later end. But the good thing is that there's only one Balrog to focus on. The bad thing is you may not get your chance to play off against them in the second game. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out in the playoffs.
Well, and we see what we see today is Pugera. His offense is so fantastic, as you put it, you know, just harassing continuously with enormous things like that, any point of the screen, especially up in the corner, just doing a fantastic job of just stopping Bonchan from even playing. And it felt like Bonchan was honestly getting frustrated, trying to leave out of the corner. We saw that frustration V-shift, committed with it, trying to find any sort of escape option with the EX. But we see Pugera keeping things really ambiguous, not only with the movement, but when he wants to use the EX dash punch. He'd save the bar for these moments, for these bust-out moments, where he would just dash in and skip the neutral in some situations. And the extension off the normals, like the light punch, crouch mini kick, will get the hit. And even if it didn't, that's plus range. He's in that area where he wants to play, where the area where he wants to strike. We saw the fierce as well, stopping the fireball players, you know, from Bonchan. We saw not even really the V skill, but just a hint of a tap, and that may have put Bonchan off his game a little bit like that. Maybe like, man, I can't really use fireballs because there is an idea that he is holding tap at some point that will get to my fireball, and he might eat 10 damage for a fireball, and I'll eat maybe 3 times, 4 times as much as that. And it looks like Kawano is congratulating his team, saying thank you all to everybody. But we gotta give a big love to Kawano coming through, probably getting a win on his side of things. It's his second match of the league with that calling play.
Yeah, thinking about how overall the team has performed very, very solid all around. I think Kawano, again, starting things off with a W, gave enough confidence to Gotchukun, getting a 2-0 over Tokido. That was actually kind of wild. It's not bad for someone who wasn't planning to play today. As he said it out actually in his interview, he said I wasn't planning to play today. I woke up this morning and found out I was going to, so I'm glad I had prepared myself. That was that's kind of interesting. I wonder what the decision was to put Dogura on the bench last second. And I'm sure we're gonna get that answer from Gotchukun. But for the most part, it's like Kawano's still having to prep last minute. It's like, man, he's got it down pat. I'm glad he was prepared too.
Would have been different with it. Yeah, definitely saw him streaming his games, you know, his ranked things like that, preparing, and it all came to fruition right here to get his W. You know, really great play overall from the entire team. You know, you can really see their game plan around a lot of these characters, not only acclimating to the nerfs and things like that, but also how to deal with like Luke and maybe the other stronger characters up in this game, and also the players too as well. We saw that happen with Gotchukun's match, with his Luke match. We saw it with Pugera. So I like these players are. And just focusing on Luke for a second, like being prepared for this top tier character out here, you know, being prepared, having game plans, and only get that against the player too as well. Gotchukun says he texted Kawano this morning that he was going to play, so he's glad that he won. He himself really wanted to play his game too as well, so he's very happy. So he had texted Kawano and said, "It's time to get up, dog, and go to work. Putting that 9 to 5 plus overtime. It's time for you to jump in." And Kawano was ready. That is the mark of an Evo champion right here. Just like Batman, always prepared, always prep time.
I'm very curious to see what Pugera had to say in regards to his matchup. If I'm not mistaken, did Bonchan get the first win in his set between the two? I thought I would think, or I thought Pugera had gotten the first one.
I thought it was Pugera first and then Bonchan second. I might be wrong though.
That's what it was, right? I thought that's what it was too. Okay, I just wanted to double check. But I was thinking Pugera again, if he had gotten 3 straight, that would have been like, you know, so a lot of confidence coming from him. So we would have expected a pretty big interview. But as it stands, as much time as Pugera had taken to talk about it, he does mention it was indeed a tough game, but he was practicing for it. Again, a lot of these players, we expect nothing less, really. I mean, a lot of these players understand what's on the line, and they know they're very familiar with these players and have been for quite some time. They know exactly what to do to prepare, right? I feel like no matter how the meta shifts, they're going to study the player the most and then go into like the tapes further to see any sort of like player tendencies or see what they're capable of in regards to like defensive attributes, offensive attributes, etc. So I think overall, it's not really much to say that they're going to be prepped for it, because I feel like that's automatically expected with these guys.
Right.
We do have to go Dogura to kind of mention his say. I'm sure he had something to talk about in regards to like why he didn't get to play today, right?
I'm so curious about that because, like, Dogura's been on a hot streak. He's had 3 wins in a row, those anchor matches. So, like, I feel like someone who's been so fantastic, so strong, especially in a match where you need to be against a run back. I feel like it's kind of wild to not see him play. But again, maybe he's benched for different reasons. And it says, Dogura himself says, the reason why Kawano plays because I didn't have good vibes towards the Rashid match. He discussed it with the team and decided to replace Kawano and let Kawano play instead of him. So he was just not feeling that matchup. He said, I'm not ready. I don't feel like I'm prepared. That's a part of prep right there. I don't feel like I'm prepared in this team battle. Can you go up? Like, I don't feel like I'm ready for Gotchukun and that Rashid. Can you go up and do the work for me? And that's kind of a part of preparation. Do you feel like you're okay to go up and play? No? Have someone else step in front of you.
That was a good call too. That's not like, too uncommon, but it's also just good situational, sorry about that, good situational awareness to kind of be like, my record against Rashid hasn't been the best, and like putting your pride aside, it's like, as good as I am Dogura after all. I think we should let Kawano step in, and I think that was a smart play. I think it was a sign of a good teammate being able to recognize some of his own weaknesses, or just even not being up to par on a certain day. He's like, I need to have someone sub out for me. I think that was a good call because look, it led to a 40 ball, right? That's more than Good 8 Squad could ever ask for, and even more importantly, it drags down V6 plus FAV, right? Although it doesn't do a lot for Good 8, like they're gonna stay in first place for a while because of the amount of points that they had going into this, but it leaves the other team that had lost susceptible to the others, right? V6 plus FAV is now going to be within the running of all the other teams trying to get within the top 4 or top 6, right? So that's something important to keep in mind. These 40-point games do a lot more than you think in regards to just like placement of the teams. Not even just for the winning team, but for the losing team being able to miss out on so many points.
Right. I mean, you're always thinking about losing points. You're always thinking about like how you might walk away with absolutely nothing or a minimal amount of points. You have to worry about the other players that are not, or the other team members that are not on the team. But let's focus on this team right here to go back in the match like that. Kawano with the fantastic jumping to get the win, with the fantastic spacing. We did see him utilize that backdash that started getting called out by Sako. Every so often, we saw Sako using some EX bar, especially these backdashes, things like that, the orb send situation, and Sako getting really aggressive in this match, which overall put Kawano on his back for a bit. However, it was the corner pressure continuously coming from Kawano with that V-trigger situation, using extension of the normals and these reversal jabs, these delayed jabs to catch him coming and get the counter situation, put him down to the ground, and weathering the storm of the V-trigger that Sako was not able to put a lot of mix on it. There were some sequences that did a lot of damage, here and there, and some lucky misses and things like that. But it was Kawano that was able to like stay as solid as possible, even with these drops. But this was sick. That was a great call from Sako. I got to give the man's credit for that one. But it wasn't enough to take it. You can see right here, the Parabellum into the EX Javelin and the follow-up to finish it. Now, what's happened in this next match, Vicious?
There was a lot of Tokido getting cornered, I gotta say. Although he started off pretty strong, like we did get to see that throw to end the round, it just wasn't enough. Gotchukun, again, being an expert on offense, and also Tokido having a couple of mishaps in regards to him thinking he had confirms, thinking he had a way out with a low medium kick. It just was not enough to get himself going. I mean, I think there was a couple of errors, very critical errors at that. We just saw another one right there, not being able to complete the flash knuckle combo. I think there was a lot to be said in regards to how Tokido performed overall in comparison to how Gotchukun played. So I think those two critical errors kind of shook Tokido just a little bit. Although, he managed to clean it up in the second game. I think Gotchukun overall was playing his normal game. Like he was just playing on point. Although he may be like the best defensively, his offense, when it shines, man, it burns brighter than the sun. That is for sure.
I'll go to offense right here. Pugera's offense was definitely getting in the Bonchan, make some wild decisions. I did like some of these challenges on Wake Up from Bonchan every so often. Wake Up with a 3-frame, you get so much off of it. We see right here with the super, but previously also, or throughout the rounds, I should say, you get the target combo into Oki and things like that that lead into continuous amount of pressure. It just wasn't enough. enough against someone like Pugera, whose defense on his side was fantastic. Delay buttons, antis right there, you see with the medium, keeping him caged up in the corner, and that V-ship chase down. Not only that, keeping it optimal, and then in the scramble situation, once again, staying solid. Look at that, not able to confirm off that. The medium, I guess, not reaching, and Pugera getting the most out of that situation and just harassing him in the corner, which led to Pugera being so confident we didn't see him seal it with that super at the very end. That was wild, but that is a statement like, hey, we came to play. We're going to get the W this time in terms of not only being the most dominant team, but possibly taking it at the finale. If they so happen to see FAP Gaming, you definitely see that Good 8 felt a certain type of way. Pugera especially, as he took down Bonchan using just the EX bar, not even the whole bar, for the finish.
Yeah, pretty dominant from the side of Pugera. Again, a 3-1 victory over Bonchan. Pretty dominant all across the board for Good 8 Squad. Again, it's been the same old song and dance, I feel like. Good 8 Squad starting things off pretty much in the lead with that pregame tournament and also getting W's back to back to back. Right? Even in week 3, we saw that 30 bomb. In week number 2, we saw 40. In week number 1, what did they do? Let me see. Let me take a look real quick. 30 points again, man. That is a lot. A very, very dominant force going into this league. Only in week 4 already, but anyways, going right into it, we could see Team Ikuza. They had their performance earlier from this episode. They fell just short. They had to go into their sudden death match 20-25, but we're still expecting to see how they play out in the next week. We still have another set to go, right? We have Nagoya Ojo Bodystar Mildon Beast versus Shinobi-ism Gaming coming for you after this break. But as it stands right now, the character selection of Street Fighter 6 thus far looking pretty damn good. I gotta say, I'm really looking forward to this beta. I want to see everybody else out there in the streets, how they contend with some of the new cast members, some of the returning cast members, and some of the characters that may have move lists that are similar to others, right? Really excited to see that, actually. I've been trying to use Kimberly and Jamie for the most part, because Jury, as cool as she is, her getting her kind of combination of 4 and 5 Jury, like, I love it, but Kim and Jamie have to be the play for me. What about you, Sinkola?
I'm looking at Ken and probably Guile, actually. And maybe Kimberly, too, as well. You know, I'm all about the Bushi Ryu when it comes to Zeku, so I'd like to see what's going to happen with Kimberly. But also, I want to see what happens with Ken. I like the Jinrai kick coming through, like that new addition. And also, Guile with a parry sounds super scary. So that zoning play is going to be super sick to see. Y'all can also see that we're going to have another World Warrior event for Japan coming up 10/22. That means the 22nd of this month of October. So make sure y'all are tuning in for that as well as any other World Warrior events coming up real soon. And coming up real soon is the next set of matches. Make sure y'all don't go anywhere. Don't leave anywhere. I know that you are rushing to wait for the beta. You're checking your emails and things like that for Street Fighter 6. But we have more Street Fighter 5 gameplay coming for you right after this break. Make sure to not go anywhere. Maybe grab a bite like that, but come right back as we'll see you in a second. Peace.
名古屋じゃボディスターミルダム対シノビズムゲーミング、こちらの模様をお届けしていきます。それでは一旦失礼いたします。
ご安全にな。
お、新入りかな。いい顔に撮れてるじゃないか。改めて担当教官のルークだ。よろしくな。
手加減は期待しないでくれ。
さあここからマッチ2の模様をお届けしていきます。
Taking things right back off where we left it. Again, it's going to be Shinobiism Gaming coming up on deck for the away side. My name is Vicious here with Sankola. Again, you just witnessed a match between two titans. Well, guess what? You're about to experience two more coming up to bat in this week's battles. Shinobiism Gaming is going to be starting things off for the away side. We talked about the advantages and disadvantages. Let's take a look at what comes to play for the team here. Shinobiism Gaming with the Prime Shinobi led by Momochi in that Cody. Unintentional rhyme scheme, but I'll tell you what's intentional. The Master of Lethal, aka the Gravemaker, Fujimura, rocking out with that Luke, followed by the Shinobi's trump card with advantage, Yamaguchi, and that Luke. Yo, I love this intro. The swanky ninja himself, the unbearable Maverick. Johnny coming in with G. That's going to round it up for Shinobiism Gaming. it's all a matter of how this order plays out to see if they can get the advantage. Again, Shinobiism Gaming is sitting on the away side. Who's going to be playing on the home side there, Tinko?
It's going to be Nagoya Oja Body Star, Milodom, combination of only on to get it done. Lightning Speed himself, Akira with that Cammy play. Still, Scammy Cammy out here. Right after that is going to be the legend, the Beast will feast himself, Daigo Umihara with that Guile. Right after that is going to be the attack on Heavy Tank, Fudo, who we've seen a lot of the Mika, but also has the toxicity with the poison pick if need be. Last but not least is the White Omen himself, Naraku, looking to shine all the time. He has been on the deficit a bit, but this might be the day where he gets to play in his right way. This team is super stacked, as I pointed out, old and young, a combination of the Oja and the Milodon combining this season. But again, they're going to need all of that work, all of that that quality, that pedigree to fight a top-tier team out here like the Shinobiism Gaming players.
Glad you mentioned top tier because on the roster we have two players rocking the same character, right? Yamaguchi and Fujimura both going with Luke, very top tier, and Momochi riding the wave of the meta. To be fair though, I can't say he's really riding the wave of the meta because he has been like the Cody innovator. He's also dabbled with this character even before this current season. And even in prior games, right? So Momochi having the right call going with the Cody, so it's going to be a very daunting task for Nagoya Oja Body Star Milodon Beast to pick out who they're going to send out. But I think just sending out Akira to test things out would be very, very smart, right? He needs to be the person to kind of test the waters at all times with his Cammy because he has such a interesting offensive style that is so hard to stop no matter what the matchup is. So I think him going out first will be a very, very secure pick no matter what.
That's actually a really good point. I think in a 1-2 situation, Akira, one of the strongest players. We've seen him kind of defeat a lot of these top-level players. This is that offensive style that takes so long to get used to, and you don't have as many games to get that job done. And in terms of beating Luke, he's beat Naomi's Luke before, but lost to Tormeshi, the Sim player, in that anchor match. So he's 1-1. But I definitely like him kind of setting the pace, being that aggressive player, being that aggressive Cammy. We see him acclimating the changes very well. The crouch fierce being whiff punishable, the buttons of the character in general being more whiff punishable has not really been a big pain point for him overall, I don't think. It's just more the fact of getting used to the fact that you have to make your defensive decisions a little bit better. She doesn't have much health to play with. She never really had that much in the first place. But we've seen him get better about, being on the defense. We've seen him get better about, challenging certain situations. Obviously, he got anti-air quite a bit from Torimeshi, but that took a lot of work from Torimeshi's side. And we saw him just completely wash and obliterate Naomi previously with that Luke play. So I think that is a good person to send up. But however, Yamaguchi's a very strong player in and of himself. We saw their minute defensive tactics where they would stand block to make things whiff with it and get a whiff punish. So it's not going to be easy feat to break down the wall of Yamaguchi, who also had taken down a fellow Luke player in Mago, who, in my opinion, I thought that was going to be a Mago win right there because he had shown how good he is in the mirror match, but Yamaguchi was the one that walked away with the victory.
Yeah, so we're talking about various matchups here, but in regards to the Cammy matchup specifically against Akira, it's going to be a whole different story, right? Yamaguchi had said he'd like to win this, so it'll be easier for his teammates to win, or at least follow up with a win. But Akira, on the other hand, he had something a little bit more confident to say about it. He said, I checked the replay and I prepped. That's all he had said in regards to how he got this matchup going. So again, being on the home team advantage is going to be pretty important, getting these counter picks going. So as it stands right now, again, Akira, he's ready. He's as ready as ever. He's taken down one Luke. What's another one to him? Him falling short, as you mentioned earlier, to Dalsim there's very specific nuances in that match that could have led to Akira's W as well. It could have gone either way, but it's a different story now. Like, he has to play against Luke, and that's going to be something that's going to be very familiar to him, right? I think at the same time, coming in as Yamaguchi, you got to feel yourself. It's got to be two things you got to look out for, right? How Akira is going to approach on the ground and how Akira is going to approach in the air. That's literally going to be the main two factors. I think more so the air. I think if you eliminate like the air options early, I think Luke's going to be just fine being able to play the grounding game with the fireball.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the fact that the buttons are going to be better on the side of Luke, the exchanges in terms of things like that, besides the fact that she gets Spiral Arrow for Oki, there's not as much in terms of reward on compared to someone like Luke that has a full toolkit. And someone that likes to jump like Akira, someone that likes to get aerial with it just in general, whose game plan is really predicated around those jumping situations where they are kind of mixes. Do you think he's going to jump in with a jumping heavy kick? Is he going to jump in with a jumping light kick? Is he going to empty jump? Is he going to throw in the dive kick? What distance is he going to do the dive kick? And even Akira himself saying to Yamaguchi, have you forgotten the Kami match? He's like, how many people still play Kami? At some point, you've seen some of these players, again, move over to different characters, despite the nerfs that have happened to the character of Kami. She's still strong. I like that Akira has still stuck with the character. Even Akira himself has said on the stream, like, he believes that character is still strong. Some matchups got worse. Some got slightly better. Some are still the same. But he believes in the character. He's going to stick with it.
Yeah, I think Kami's normals pretty much outclass Luke's. I think that's very blatant. I think in regards to like the normals, that's not really in question. I think it's having the fireball is what's really going to be a problem against Kami outside of having meter. I think EX Spiral Arrow is going to take care of that. But at the same time, it's so expensive. I think Kami's not going to be looking out for that too much. It's going to be a matter of kind of annoying Luke's with like standing medium kicks. That's always going to be like the big deterrent. Low medium kick to kind of punish any sort of normal that Luke plays out as well. Even some of the heavier normals that Kami has, like standing heavy punch or even crouching heavy punch, I think outclass Luke's as well. So we'll see. I think the ground game is going to be pretty effective. It's just a matter of how Yamaguchi manages to kind of set the pace with the fireballs first to get within range of striking distance. I think for the most part, like whiff punishing in front of a Kami is going to be a dangerous deal. I think combined with the walk speed, I think Kami has the big advantage on the ground game in comparison to Luke.
Definitely worked that crouch speed kick too as well. That button always going to be a big pain point against any player. As you pointed out, that walk speed, being able to fade in and outside the distance of like the forward fierce, the medium punch from Luke. We'll see. Also, got to be careful with those fireballs. You want to put on the fireball game, you got to be picture perfect with it because the recovery on those means one good jump in will be the win. Let's see what happens if Yamaguchi got them anti-airs.
He already established the pace with the fireball, right? Immediately after the block, Akira went in. That's a big counter hit conversion off of the crouching medium punch. Akira off to a lightning speed start, just as expected. See what I'm talking about? The speed that Kami gets to play at, it's going to take advantage of the ground game so quickly.
Absolutely. Expeditiously on the Grizzly right here is Akira. And you can definitely see the game plan. Very well worked out. Put him in the corner. Actually made Yamaguchi break down with the EXTP real early in the set. Oh, with dive kick, but still A-okay.
I love that. Full extension option now on the prop. Big interruption off of the target combo from Yamaguchi, but it doesn't lead so much. No, he actually committed to the block string. Akira now in deep trouble.
Shift goes for the break. Some great life on it. Backs away. Don't want to get challenged too much on a light corner dash situation. Yamaguchi with B-bar to activate at any point to really put the pain point of the fireballs on the screen. The knockdown Oki. Here's Akira.
Huh. He'd gone for the V reversal? Yeah, okay. He's keeping it for defense for the most part, but what happens if he lands that hit? I was expecting Yamaguchi to go into trigger off of any sort of normal and finish the combo out with Thermal Barrack, but he saved it instead for defense, being that close to Kami and also, like, yeah, tied in life and also within range of like any sort of block string from Kami. That was playing with fire.
Maybe just thinking like also if he comes from the air, I have a way to V-shift like the dive kicks if they come through. But then again, the ground gameplay has been so strong from Akira, it's hard to see that even being utilized. Akira off to a fantastic start, already got a game point on the board. We have that fierce, no whip punish, back heavy kick, no crush though. Yamaguchi poking away, backed away, got a whip punish, and puts him in the corner.
Big low forward. Ugh. Uppercut to finish it out. The amount of damage being applied, but it just gives you more fuel to the fire. No jumping out of here. And he's going to spend it early. Akira tracking down the jump back. But Yamaguchi's in control. Not quite dead yet, but I don't think the comeback is going to be coming the way that Akira plays. He understands. So Yama being able to stop that dash in place. Excellent chuck. Excellent pull out. There we go. A little bit more aggression. Getting the counter pitch going.
That medium punch So much off of it. You see him backing up and forth a lot, making it real hard to judge the distance with the dive kick. Dash up, Medium didn't get the counter hit. No big deal though. He has him up in the corner. Whipping no buttons. That fireball with that pressure. Oh, you thought? The bait, the dive kick bait hits the punish on the DP. Back throw.
Oh, that is so smart. It was actually so clean from Akira, avoiding the thermal barrack altogether and spending the critical art to get the finish, and a big smile on his face. Like, you know, it's gonna be fine. He's a battery anyway. Cammy's a walking battery. She'll be just fine.
It seems like every single round she always has EX, you know, at the ready, always stocked up, and as aggressive as Gear plays, you know, you'll probably see another one come through. But here's the knockdown off the target combo, off the light, on the bar on the side of Yamaguchi. Not sure he's looking for utilizing that bar, maybe a defensive EXDP or, you know, conversions if you can get those openings, but it's not happening. Only thing is getting opened up right now is Yamaguchi.
Again, look how good these medium kick placements are from the side of Akira. Even with the nerf, it doesn't matter if it doesn't win, right? I don't know about some of these decisions that Akira's making. Like, he dashes up, crouching medium punch, thinking he gets a hit. That was almost death, dear God. But it's great now. Okay, like, you have trigger on deck. Well, you had it earlier, but, you know, this might be a turning point for Akira if he could land a clean hit. Not gonna happen. Yamaguchi, nice and easy. He's playing the slow dance. Standing light kick to finish it out.
Might be the last dance right here for Akira if he keeps playing this way. In terms of dashing in and getting checked continuously, in terms of, you know, not having these confirms and missing these things that you typically need to have with Cammy, where I feel like he's kind of rushing into his demise too much. And no surprise, we see Yamaguchi routing it back. And now Yamaguchi also showing up his defense on his side. I do feel like some of this, if not a lot of this, is Akira making these big drops. But Yamaguchi picking it up and also being a little more solid on defense in terms of what he does on wake up, in terms of challenging the dashes, things like that. In terms of being at that right space where he can challenge the dashes and making sure that the dive kicks are whiffing too as well. Akira has to rethink where he's placing these dive kicks or he's going to get dusted.
Right. Yeah, I think the dive kicks have been a really pivotal point for Yamaguchi's offense to get started. Akira had whiffed quite a few of them, whether it be regular ones or EX, and then Yamaguchi had the appropriate punish of checking with the crouch and jab. And that's always going to be a safe bet too. Crouch and jab, whether it's going to be hit or block, is going to be the play for Yamaguchi, and he's found it more often than not, which is really solid, like, keen awareness as to the air approach. Again, we talked about it earlier. Being outside of the ranges of the air approach that Akira wants to take is crucial. He has to find the right marks to get some of these dive kicks. Other than that, like, he's gotten away with a few jump-in medium punches. I think like 3 or 4 times over thus far in these 2 games. I think now it's up to Yamaguchi to kind of see, like, if he can put himself within a range to get a rising uppercut, it might be successful.
Oh, another layer of the anti-air, deleting the CPs off the table. You also see him use that medium punch a lot more, but here's that medium kick. Setting up shop for the jump in. Throw arrow situation, connects the throw. And this is good right here. Akira's going to be able to take it back from the brink. The EXDP clears it and puts him back on set point. This is the momentum that you need to have as Akira. But if these hits don't connect, you have to find a way to play. Find a way to stay solid. All the DP you were talking about.
Finally within the right range. Yamaguchi does not get baited into oblivion. That uppercut finally finding the mark. But speaking of finding the mark 2 times over. Damn, okay. That's the reaction we like to see. Akira is just all over it. He is tracking down Yamaguchi's movements. Back to back. It's been really tough so far. Yamaguchi's in this corner again, but one big explosive hit can lead to a KO. It might just be from the side of Akira. Baits out the throw, and that's going to be more than enough damage. Yamaguchi falls short 2 rounds straight against Akira.
Akira bringing it back, less committal with it, making sure to get all the hits to connect off the hit confirms, not giving Yamaguchi a chance to get those, I want to say, like, those, you know, those mistakes picked up, but also, you know, okay, cool. Dive kicks are getting DP'd and anti-aired. Let's keep it grounded. Let's keep it basic. Let's keep it solid. As Akira moves on over Yamaguchi, really showcasing again that Luke matchup knowledge and really not faltering to himself. It felt like there were moments where it was slipping away. It was because of Akira's play. It felt like Akira was making a lot of mistakes in Yamaguchi, showing things up and able to take it back for a little bit. But then we see Akira, if he just, stays solid, takes the W.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, the movement that he presented was very reminiscent of, like, game number 1. I think Yamaguchi, although he had shades or like signs of potential of getting the anti-air game going, of getting some of the rising uppercuts, I think it was the ground game again that he lost focus on. He wasn't checking some of these dashes, or he was falling susceptible to a lot of these standing medium kicks as well. I think, the ground game is just so much for one to think about. Having to, like, even think about something else or put your attention towards something else, as soon as you lose that focus, it's a whole different story. So Akira, again, taking full advantage of his walk speed, some of the dashes he presented. It's been catching Yamaguchi off guard, especially in that last game. I would have loved to see what the stats were in regards to, like, the anti-air department, too, specifically for Yamaguchi, and how important it was to get some of those in the last game. But we are going to get those stats eventually. The anti-airs, again, 3 out of 10. I think majority of them came from the last game, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I think that's the case, because the dive kick had landed. He caught the recovery. So the other times were just the last game of the DPs in terms of the anti-airs. There's a good anti-air on the side of Akira. But just going back to that play though, Yamaguchi, he has to, like, at least take away from the fact that he made Akira stay grounded, someone that would like to get aerial with it. But then again, on the switch of things, Akira being so strong to be able to implement such great grounded gameplay on his side to stay solid also means that he's also a big threat. And right now, that's 10 points on the board. Akira being able to start off strong, very strong for Team Oja Body Star. We have the other team, Shinobi Some Gaming, to swing it right back in their favor.
Looking into it, Fujimura is going to be up on deck next with that Luke. We wonder who is going to come up for Nagoya Oja Body Star. I'm kind of thinking maybe I would love to put Daigo up there, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Fudo. I think from the home side, I don't know if they're going to put Narukun up there at all, considering the arsenal that they have for the counter picks. I think Guile would make sense against Luke, and then Momochi specifically, you'd probably want to put Fudo there, but we'll see.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think that's probably the best play. Being able to have, Guile to go against Luke, deals with the fireball or, fairly well, better than other characters. And I think the normals also can contest with Luke, as we've seen before previously when Daigo does fight Luke players. And then when you have the poison to back up against the Cody pick, that we've seen Fudo really solidify in that matchup, really find a way to play. We'll get to that a little bit later, but I like that idea. Narukun, really hasn't really had the best run so far. He's lost to Gucci's Guile. He's lost to Tokido's Luke. Those are 2 big threats right there. And it looks like it's going to be your call correct, as Umihara coming up on the deck with that guy.
What is happening over there? Daigo looks so confused. He doesn't even. I feel like he doesn't even know he's coming up next.
You know where he's at?
Oh, I think it was his mic was muted.
Oh.
I don't know. I couldn't tell. Hold on. We're getting his response. I think he was muted. I think he muted himself again. Oh, God. Come on, man. It's always Daigo, I feel like. He's trying to figure it out.
Focus on the matches.
Oh, I think he's just on his phone.
Okay.
That's what it is. He was literally on his phone.
Oh.
But Fujimura, again, he was expecting the Guile matchup. He's already, showcased it and prepped for it. He streamed it, etc. But Daigo, we didn't really get an interview because he had some technical issues, and by that I mean he was just being a boomer. He couldn't figure out how to unmute himself, I feel like. But I'd imagine it goes along the way of something like he's been preparing for this matchup and he's going to do his best, right? That's exactly what came out from Daigo.
Daigo has been doing his best out here. He's won against Nemo's Falk and Itabashi's G. That's 2-0 right there. The side of his team, so doing really well in his team. Fujimura, however, is on a downtrend currently. Lost to Gotchukun in the anchor match, lost to Gucci's Guile, and then lost to Moke's Falk. 0-3 so far from such a strong player who is very optimal. He hasn't been able to put on the results, so I'm sure after that loss to Higuchi, he's definitely going to be labbing out the Gao matchup. But again, way different Gaos in terms of play style. He's going to have to be prepared to fight the demon that is Daigo, and really get some points on the board for his team, because, you know, at this point, you definitely don't want to be lacking that many points for your team to go down 0-4 and things like that. It's just a bad look, and also bad morale drop right there to have to go in this anchor match, you know, lacking that many points. So we'll see if Fujimura does have a game plan. I'm very curious, because it always looks like he has a good game plan when it comes to conversions, when it comes to figure out what's like the most like dirtiest setup or dirtiest combo or whatever, or most optimal combo with the character. But when it comes to the matchups, it feels like he takes a little bit to get there. And that makes sense because he's always switching to different characters every season. He's always going to like the next top tier or whatever fits his style. So it takes him a little bit like any player to get to that right point. Let's see if he's got there against Daigo.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things to talk about is how whether or not Fujimura is actually prepped and how well he's prepped against Guile specifically, because we've seen what had happened between him and Higuchi, right? That was a pretty significant battle at that. I think there wasn't a lot that Fujimura could have done specifically in that matchup, but outside of that, that was what? That was 2 games straight. So Higuchi had lost the first one and took it down 2 games straight with an offensive onslaught too. Daigo's a whole different story. Like, I was gonna say a whole different beast, but, you know, no pun intended. Daigo's a whole different kind of player in regards to like how he paces himself out. I think there's a lot of passiveness and reactions from the side of Daigo that come into play with this Guile. So it's a matter of Fujimura recognizing that early, if that comes to play, because you have 2 different standards of Guile in Japan, right? Either the defensive like reactionary style from Daigo, or you have the very offensive kind of like bullying with active normals kind of play style with Higuchi. So we'll see if Fujimura is prepared for that, or whether or not Daigo has maybe a different play style for us today.
See if to that streak right here. Daigo with the Guile, Fujimura with the loop pick. Get into it. Very, very curious to see how these round starts going to happen too as well. I feel like Guile definitely wants that control as much as possible. That round start's going to be very important. We see that with the Higuchi match. As soon as he got that round start, it looked like he was able to snowball and control Fujimura a bit with it. And now we're slanging out the sonic booms.
A lot of normals just whiffing from the side of Fujimura, but at the same time, a little reluctancy from the side of Daigo even harder. He's not actually trying to get some of these whiff punishes, he's letting some of these normals just go by. There we go, look at the onslaught of booms. He's throwing so many projectiles. I think majority of the damage has come from projectiles.
That's right. And added up Gray Life. Fujimura taking so much damage to log Daigo in the corner, and he's been the type to be able to fight outside. He'll leave, but you have to pay him some damage to cross up DP. Fujimura now trying to walk him down once again, but Daigo's fine to take some of that damage just to get that positional advantage. Back to mid-screen, back to where he can kind of do that zoning, but that's going to be a whip punch on the side of Fujimura, right for the super.
As impressive as that is, it just sets up Daigo for an even bigger comeback, right? He still has a good amount of life. He has fully loaded trigger and critical art. Any hit confirmed could lead to death for Fujimura. So that's so scary.
The X is trying to catch him lacking.
Oh, you're actually
shift activation immediately.
I was gonna say, so like that was you know, a very good call out for Fujimura getting the jump in, but if you were whiff punishing something like a forward fierce, like, could you have gone for any other like normal instead of like just full on critical art? I have to lie that up myself. There's the whiff punish we were looking for. No more back roundhouses flying for free. Oh, well, I lied. Literally right after I say that.
Fujimura's like favorite button. I feel like if you look at the CFA, he probably has like a 90% rank with that. The crosscut DP, once again, he shifts out of that bad situation, trying to keep the sun as much as possible, and he'll get it done. Off that medium counter hit, that'll be it. Fujimura with a big smile on his face as it gets the first match. Dominant play right there.
Not bad at all for Fujimura. Starting things off with a win. We've seen this similar kind of play or similar kind of start against Higuchi. We'll see if it actually affects Daigo. If he can come back from this. But as it stands right now, there's been a lot of normals that have been unpunished from Daigo. Now a little bit more activity outside of just booms, a couple of normals too.
There we go. Sweep off the feet, the B-shift into break though, Fujimura. I like him swinging that V-bar for something different with it. You don't need B-trigger to beat Kyle for this match, or most matchups as Luke. So I like these Luke players using their V-bar to push the character in the corner, get that gray light. That's why that throw did a ton of damage. Daigo trying to strike back.
Within the right ranges. I'm gonna say Daigo is kind of teasing the idea, like maybe he can get counter post, but instead a fireball comes every single time. Fujimura has not been able to crack down against Daigo's harassment and normal harassment of fireballs. No whiff punish on the side of Fujimura. Again, just so much patience from Daigo. That's fine. Totally fine.
Yeah. That's okay. The fact that Daigo has been spinning these V-bars for V-reversals just to get the gray light built up, able to take it with that last thing to do it, fighting outside the corner. I like him switching it up. V-trigger not getting the job done. V-reversal, built that gray light, make the booms hit a lot harder right there. Daigo putting it right on the board.
Fujimura is just willing to walk and block and take all of it. Man, he actually walked up right into the Fierce, the forward Fierce with that. Daigo's switching it up. He's catching a couple of tendencies from Fujimura, walking and blocking a little bit, give him a couple of fists to back him up, and look at it, it's just the escape game is so powerful from Daigo, just moving him. That single confirmed from Fujimura pushes Daigo to the corner, and he finds an escape, the jump out. Now he gets to reset the pace in his favor.
And can threaten with that EX bar at the bottom. Upside down kick gets a little bit of a hit. Starting to take nothing off it but a fireball at that distance. Fujimura not being able to utilize those fantastic normals, I should say exchange off the normals that Luke gets. It's 2 more touches, maybe an EX fireball for the finish, or just a 2-piece. Anything right here. Daigo has this in the bag. Can't count Fujimura though, even with the bar at the bottom. It's gonna be a long hill to climb.
Yeah, it's indeed going to be a hill. Daigo is not going to be letting up no matter what. There's going to be so much to think about. Sonic booms, EX Sonic booms, the 4 defensive normals. Again, it's one of those that are going to be the case, and it was going to be EX Sonic boom to seal out one game. Sorry, game number 2 for Daigo. We're all tied up at one apiece.
V-bar used differently. EX bar used differently from Daigo. Using the V-bar for the V-reversal to build up some of that gray light, get some distance with it, and not just for the comeback factor. Using the EX bar instead of just sealing with the super like he typically does, and catching Fujimura off guard, especially in the second half of the match like that. If he tries to get a dash in, gets checked with the EX, but that's a big jump in here for Fujimura. Finally taking a big fighting reward. Getting the counter hit, going and pressing on the wake up. Now, that stun is getting pressed down, and that's most of the round.
Not quite dead yet. Oh no, not like this. How often has he gotten away with murder after he lands an EX flash kick? Not this time, successfully defending against the Ume flash kick, right? Fujimura getting the crouching jab after getting hit with the Ume flash kick from before. Not too bad. A lot of people have been susceptible mentally after getting hit by that. Luckily, it wasn't Fujimura.
He knew what to do again. He said he was prepped and prepared, ready and steady to take down Daigo. He is on set for to do so. Grasping that medium. I like that V-reversal from Daigo, using that V-bar again to get that win, get that gray light built up. There is a conversion. Finally, something more off the crouch medium kick and sword. The counter hit, just a walk-up throw. Dicey.
A lot of this usage of the V-reversal. Sorry, V-shift from the side of Fujimura as well. Oh. Daigo's not out of it yet. One clean hit to critical art. will be more than enough damage, I think. We're looking for the activation for Fujimura. Off the standing medium kick, and that's the one! That should be more than enough! Yes, sir! Fujimura takes it down, 2-1. He was literally fishing with it for at least like 10 seconds against Daigo in the corner. Minimum 10 seconds.
For the patient is the reward right here. Fujimura being able to break down the wall Daigo that we have seen him fight out of the corner so many times, so consistently, but Fujimura had a game plan, looking for that moment, looking for those options, and able to not even let a flash kick out of there deter him from his victory. Great stuff from Fujimura to take it for his team and put more points on the board. And just harassing with that medium punch, getting aggressive with it. It really showcases the fact that it's hard to let Luke, it's hard to play patient against Luke, especially an aggressive Luke player, especially one that loves to utilize the better butts of that character, especially one that loves to utilize back heavy kick to claim a lot of space, that will take the walk and block situations. And even though the V reversal came a lot from Daigo, and the EX bar used from Daigo to get the knockdowns and change up the pace of the booms, it just wasn't enough against the normals that Fujimura put on, especially when he was able to get in that right range to get the crouch medium kick into real conversions.
Yeah, that was actually kind of rough, just seeing how Fujimura was relentlessly charging forward against Daigo, and Daigo still not able to get some of these whiff punishes going in the early phases of the game even. Fujimura, again, getting that first W against Daigo was imperative, because Daigo pretty much let a lot of information out there. It's like, I'm not going to be getting a lot of these whiff punishes going, so Fujimura is like, all right, well, if that's the case, I'm going to keep going and pushing forward with some of my normals. But as it stands right now, we're taking a look at these stats, right, in terms of anti-airs. 2 out of 2, tracking down a lot of the jump outs that Daigo had done, putting himself in the corner. But I will say, he took a little bit of damage off of an uppercut, still able to get out of the corner. We get that. But looking at the EXDPs, the one Ume flash kick that it hit, totally fine. And of course, getting the 10 points is Fujimura. Which brings us to our next thing. The stats as well. These guys are going nuts. Yamato and Hameko, they're still checking the stats out as well with the grab and throw range. 50% from the side of Daigo Umehara. But as it stands right now, 10 points apiece for both teams, which means we're not getting a sudden death battle. It's going to be do or die time for Shinobiism Gaming and Nagoya Oja Bodystar Mildom. So the question remains, who's going to be the anchor for Nagoya Oja?
Gotta be Fudo. It's gotta be Fudo. Big Narakun at this point, he's got a little bit more time that he needs to shore up, some of these matchups and things like that before he can really get the job done. I feel like Fudo, who's been so clutch throughout not only his own tournament results, things like that, always being top 8 spots and stuff like that, but also clutch as a player out here at Street Fighter League. I feel like Fudo has to be the one to go up. In fact, he has 3-0 up so far. He beat White Sea Mochi Sim in an anchor match with Mika, beat John Takeuchi's Cody with Poison, and then took down Sako's Manat with Mika. He's got 3 on the board. He wants more in store. It's going to be Fudo Poison. And I talked to, I mentioned this in Momochi's chat, because they were talking about the Poison matchup, because he was laughing about a little bit this matchup out. And he said that they're trying to find ways to effectively fight this character. Momochi's actually looking for game plans, looking for ways. It feels hopeful to find ways to fight this character, to deal with the pressure of the character. When you put him in the corner, Cody does feels like it's impossible for Poison to find a way out, besides activation and cartwheel, obviously. But mid-screen is where Momochi feels like things are suffering. So he's been practicing relentlessly against that. But you know that Fudo is as well. He is a lab rat too as well. We may not see it as much on his stream. We may not see his streams as often as someone like Momochi, who seems like he streams every single day. But you know that Fudo's going to be ready for that.
Yeah, Momochi has been streaming against this matchup in particular as well. I think, he's already covered Cammy and Guile on the streams. So Poison is a matchup that he still feels like is going to be a very big detriment to what he wants to accomplish as Cody. With Fudo, however, again, you've made a very valid point. I don't know how often Fudo has been exercising this kind of scenario, but they're sending him in there for very good reason. As it stands right now, what Momochi had said, he was hoping for a match with Narikun, but seeing as Fudo and himself are of similar age, he sees him as his rival, so he would like to win this with that in mind.
Well, that's godlike. I love that the Heat, beyond just getting the points for your team, but just the rival on the screen, you want to defeat them and get not only their points, but take the W from them. And I'm definitely curious to see what Mochi has in store against this character, against someone like Fudo. I feel like the style of Fudo has got to be difficult to deal with. Like, a lot of Poison players are... Oh, I should say not a lot. I should say a lot of Poison players are not like Idom, because Idom is very, very about the zoning, about the harassment, about the control. Fudo has these moments of burst where he'll dash in with medium punch and things like that. He'll stay the close to mid-range quite a bit with it, and against that game plan against Cody, that may be where he wants to be, but someone like Fudo has been okay at finding those ranges, even in other matchups where it's Mika or other characters, even with Birdie. Like, even when it's not the best for the character, he as a player is acclimated to that area very well. Even the matchup doesn't speak to it. So Fudo says he thinks in this match he has a good chance of winning, though he says he thinks he said the same before. Cody has more of an advantage to win when it comes to the match between Cody and Poison, so he believes that it's Cody favored. Let's see, he's going to savor the W.
Let's see whether or not that's true or if it was just an option select. Here we go. It's going to be Poison and Cody on the screen. Fudo in control of Poison. Momochi in control of Cody. And you can see why, right? Not being able to get some of these heart rate block strings. We see the sway to get past it. So that's going to be pretty imperative to know going forward.
In the corner right now. But here's the activation to stop that from happening. Light kick activation. Strongest in the business. One of them at least. And the corner carrying the side. Damage applied. V-shift denied. Look at that. Check the red. Almost dead with the B skill against the B reversal immediately. We've seen that time and time again.
Yeah, Momochi has been practicing against a lot of B reversals for the roster, and he's already had that sway down pad. That's actually a pretty solid strategy, being able to read that, have that intuition to go against the B reversal as a game.
Okay, gets the knockdown. Corner carry off the B skill cartwheel. Doing that, okay, that pressure. Sweep the raw off the feet. Didn't get the fierce or the pressure right there. Whip punch, I should say. B shift in play. And now it's time to party with that forbidden nooch. But what a challenge for Fudo.
I love the answer against the ruffian kick. Back to back, Cody versus Momochi has gone for that option. It's pretty much covered every single time from Fudo. Frames, what are you going to do about this?
Lots of feature. Caught him coming in with a light EX. One more touch will seal it. The tech though. We know that Cody could definitely dump out the damage. We know that this could be an easy comeback. Maybe not easy, but could be a comeback at any point. He's holding that heavy zonk, but it's not going to happen this round. He's going down at that distance to whip to do it.
Now to the final round here, in game number one. Full critical art from the side of Momochi, still trying to find an opening. Frames on the heart rate. Do it again, spinning the bar, looking for a throw bait potentially, using that neutral jump.
Almost like Cammy, you're worried about so many options for coming in, but caught him at that distance. You see Fudo backing up, letting that EX off whip, but not giving him too much space. Yo, the B skill gets a little roughing and the Oki. He's been calling out some of these almost very fantastically, and it's allowing him to get these activations, allowing him to get this damage and his corner carry. EX, B reversal, that's good for the side of Momochi. That's making him spin D bar. That's feature we have to worry about. Uh-oh.
Wow, so protected even after the Zonk. It's Zonk level. Ooh. Check.
Action.
Nothing really crazy from Molotov. I love Momochi just backing away despite being at the deficit. No, gets clipped by the second part. Oh my god, the second Molotov. He's still alive. Uh-oh. He's still
what
alive.
Challenge.
Oh, no punish for the sweep.
10 seconds on the clock, B reversal. He has that part of threatening with the EX Zonk at any point, Vicious. At any point, that could come through the surprise. But you see Fudo trying to keep up, but there it is! EX Zonk from downtown!
And if you were Fudo, you had to be expecting that as well. At 2 seconds left on the clock, you had to be expecting that was going to come out. And he knew it too. I'd imagine he had the right read and then just miscalculated his steps a little bit.
And let things linger, especially against a character that could just hold up that zone, have that bar at the bottom to threaten with, and still get the dash and pressure. Momochi able to take it back. Just like that. Here's Fudo with the V-skill. Good defense right here after that Oki situation. You speed up, spacing up that ruffian. We saw that being kind of a pain point for Fudo, and where he had to get closer enough to get a whip punish. I like that we see the ruffian there.
Oh, and the whip punish again against the throw. The big bait from Fudo. Paying off dividends now. The big ruffian bet, actually. That could have been big punish, too. A lot of big decisions from both sides.
Medium kick gets the opening. Up knife. Is that going to be stunned? That's actually going to be stunned. The damage is done. Oh, my gosh. Not dead just yet. What do you mean?
The classic jump short overhead. Again, there's been a lot of big bets and big decisions that have been made in this round, and it still continues to be the trend. Fudo not letting up. There's the heart rate into the back throw. Not able to contest against it. Momochi stuck in this corner, getting whiff punish for his sweep, being way out of range, and now the heart rates get to come into play. Fudo gets to dictate the pace so easily now with the raids, with the amount of chip damage as well, and the trade-off again against the fireball. It's been all Fudo thus far in this round, and it just might be for the rest of the game as this critical art comes into play.
One more good touch after this will seal it. Fudo at that distance, we're so far off with the X-Song. There it is on block. Court heavy kick, caught it, pressing a button after that plus situation. Oh, this might be a negative situation right here, as he has him caught up in the corner. That knife for the plus frames means you can't press a dang button. And there's bar at the bottom to seal it if he gets that sun situation. Activation at that crouch fierce. Momochi stopping just to let that activation happen, but the jump in gets the win. It's harder to anti-air when you have the knife equipped, and Fudo knew it.
Pretty much back-to-back from both ends, right? Momochi getting the first W. Fudo firing right back at a more commanding pace. I will say, though, you have to go back to the character select. These guys are going nuts, too. Fudo was in control majority of that game, actually. That was extremely impressive with, like, the amount of different changes that we've seen in between like him going for normals, him going for like heart rate, etc. It's been very offensive initially from that game, and then back to the space control. Him being able to kind of flip it at different paces at the flip of a switch is what I meant to say, has been very impressive thus far, and it's caught Momochi off guard more often than not. So I'm imagining Momochi is trying to contemplate, like, what kind of strategy do I need? Do I need to be a little bit more offensive to stop him from even getting started? Do I have to, like, think about the spacing I'm playing at to catch Fudo off guard? But we'll see. I think one of the important things that we might see coming forward is the usage of meter and EX Zongdukul a little bit more in this game. That's just a hunch I have, but we'll see if it comes to play.
I agree. I think we need to see more of the EX Zongs. That's kind of a shallow, detail right there. But EX Zong at that mid-range, I know that we see Fudo walking back quite a bit like that, but we need to see that walk-down pressure, that advancement where Fudo has to think about the economy of buttons. But now we're seeing a switch, that B trigger to B skill to. Let's see if that's going to be a switch up. Having that pipe, that command grab to maybe open up Fudo on defense may be a determiner. And maybe the rock to kind of eat through some of these long range situations. But right now, it's all Fudo starting off real strong.
What's wild about that is I think the knife is just fine overall. I think he got what he needed to off of some of these confirms, but maybe he wants to get like extra damage off of the command grab or apply even like mix-up pressure, more effective mix-up pressure.
Reversal immediately gets the EX follow-up. I kind of like that. Again, continue that pressure. Keep that mid to close range space as much as possible. Well-spaced, medium ruffian. Again, he needs to use that EX bar to get in and continue that medium kick. Gets a sweep off the feet, though. This is really good for Momochi. Way more dominant this round.
There we go. Off the counter hit. No, he was too far to finish the combo. Off the crouch medium punch. Looking for a whip punish, but still within range. He's ready to settle it up close.
Quite a few preemptive V-shifts. Just looking for that EX on.
9 seconds, and you see him dashing forward. Momochi definitely ready for the check. Now, we didn't get to see that many Zonk Knuckles, but when it did come out, it actually had pretty solid usage. It actually seen pretty significant damage. Or at least momentum-wise, he actually got the momentum off of that. I'll spray it afterwards.
Going off that medium, but you know, to that point, just the fact that you have the song, the threat or the idea of it is causing Fudo to go for these V-shifts, causing Fudo to go for these preemptive options, to not be able to have that burst up that he would like to have, the dash in situations that we have seen from him, from this poison, especially when he's losing this amount of health. Here we go, gets the up kick after that light, EX, V-reversal immediately, and a lot more people are spent for V-reversals on the side of Momochi.
Yeah, doesn't want to even think about what happens after EX heart rate, which is totally fine. He does have the life lead here as well, being able to pursue, going up close against Fudo. V-shift break is the answer for Fudo. Heart rate is not going to use the V-reversal this time. That's kind of scary. That's, yep, lose yourself in that throw range. Do it again. Oh, blocking the tip throw attempt. Activate, play ball.
Make something with it. On the last inning, brawl, low, rough in, gets the bump, the heavy rough in, wasn't able to get the pipe. Needs to find the finish here. He has the bar to threaten with a dash in, is back dash. He's out of there, Fudo. So that clear as day.
Very gutsy, and I do appreciate that from Momochi. Double dash forward for the command grab. EX Zonk off the wall. Set him down. Anti-air, you already know. Can't get out for free. Gotta pay the toll.
Can damage your health. Live kick, follow up. All top extension, cooking him in the corner. Yo, you see the walk back with the fierce at that minute walk back, auto attacking. In the EX, he put himself in the corner, do the EX flip, is about to do it. One more hit after this, will seal it.
That was so smart for Fudo also from that last instance, but this fight target combo. The backdash again away for the command grab. That is 2 instances where Fudo was absolutely ready. One off of intuition, number 2, actually both off of intuition technically. But the first one, again, just reacting to the 2 backdashes, and then now, without even that much information, still trusting his instincts to backdash away from the command grab. Fudo's gotta be feeling really good about himself after that one. We're going right back into it. No change up on the V trigger from the side of Momochi. That's gonna be huge.
I mean, we've seen the backdash get checked like maybe once, but Fudo's like, you have to prove to me it's going to hurt. You have to prove to me that this is the worst option I can get hit with. Fudo on that gameplay situation. Using that crouch fierce, that fierce too as well, and the jumper situation. As you see, Momochi so committed to get the swoop off the feet to try to get something going. Not caught up in the corner.
Already off to a pretty strong start. Quick sweep and activation. The command grab escaped yet again. 0 for 3 from the side of Momochi. Fudo doing a fantastic job of calling these out. Yeah, Momochi has to hold all of these heart rates. He can do it again if he wanted to. To back up, empty jump low. That's how you feel today? Fudo looking at match point.
The rivalry on the side of Fudo, he felt that. He really felt that when Mochi said that. That's why we saw the switch up in the corner into the EX flip to get the throw bait. That's why we see the nasty play right here from Fudo. And he's looking to seal it over Momochi and give him his first loss. Here's in the EX. Side switch, you thought? I like that. Mochi waiting for that opportunity and able to get some big damage on the deck.
There we go. We're seeing a lot more V reversals from the side of Momochi. against the heart rate. But now he's gonna have to save it. Yo, he was still out of range for that throw and he's still committed to it? Not this time.
Making the decision, blocks it out, EX. Again, blocking the situation, here's the activation. Momochi's probably gonna get his command grab. No, the flip out is good. And the flip kick, EX, is gonna clip Momochi and take him down. Fudo taking down Momochi and taking a big W for their team.
A very commanding lead at that. 3 games straight from the side of Fudo. And just having all the right call-outs on defense. That jump reset was primed and positioned against Momochi. We were thinking about, I think it was, low medium kick into the pipe we saw towards the tail end of Momochi's offense. I think that was either if it was backdash or a jump, it's still going to be the same result. So Momochi, again, making the right call. Sorry, Fudo making the right call and Momochi not being able to keep Fudo grounded. I think had it been like maybe a standing medium punch, I think there would have been enough frames to catch like the startup of like maybe like a backdash or even a jump to not have that reset happen. But it's, I think I understand, like, you know, going for a low medium kick to check the movement because it's hitting low. That makes sense a lot. But yeah, you are susceptible to that air reset. So he saw it hit, he went for the rest of the pipe, and Fudo just pretty much punished it. So it was really unfortunate sequencing there from Momochi, but excellent decision making from Fudo. That was like, you had to be on a different level of thinking and reads to call out Momochi that many times over.
100%. Someone that I really typically see go for the command grab with that V-trigger, or even use that V-trigger overall. And also the reads in terms of distance. Stay outside the distance for the exhaust. Stay outside the distance for the medium ruffian that was getting these knockdowns, allowing Momochi to get this pressure. Stay outside the distance for the sweeps. And at first, the sweeps weren't getting punished at all. Then Momochi was clear as day, looking at that whiff, getting the fierce, getting some damage on the deck, and getting these commanding leads. If Fudo is trying to OS and saying, hey, maybe this is in Cody's favor, it's looking a little bit different, my friend. But then again, it felt like Fudo was just outplaying Momochi overall, beyond any of the character stuff that was happening. Just making Momochi feel real uncomfortable. Not being able to land what you want to do with V-trigger, not being able to stay consistent in damage, be outside these pain points like exhaust and stuff like that. It felt like Momochi just wasn't able to get in and get his win condition continuously. We were getting the winning team interview here, but overall that was fantastic play. Fudo feeling himself as he should.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick Jammers' brain on that one in regards to the Poison Cody matchup. We did see a couple of nuances, specific nuances where V-Skill 2 could really shine against Poison in regards to like heart rate block strings, maybe heart rates in general. But that's like, if you're looking for like heart rates raw, that's so difficult. Like that's, you could see the stance for sure, but like it's at her discretion as to when she wants to release it. So being able to react to that is so difficult. Outside of that, I didn't really get to see Momochi really exercise as or really kind of demonstrate why Cody would have the big advantage against Poison. So going into it, right, we did get to see a little bit of Akira, then Daigo, then Fudo. So that's exactly the answers we're going to expect from the interview. Akira had started things off saying, you know, each time I change to the Christmas outfit, good things happen. And he's right. He's absolutely right. So looking forward to seeing more of the holiday spirit from Akira, especially in the later months.
That's correct. And Daigo says the opponent was strong. We thought it was a very good match. So, you know, Daigo able to, you know, fight Fudo, but, you know, maybe not able to take it all the way through. But still thought it was a good time.
Fight Fujimura,
it was a good match. Oh yeah, because I said Fujimura was able to take it, but not that not to have the win the 2, but he wanted to play more, was able to showcase that. So despite the fact that he's got a losing you know, thing on his record, he was happy just to be able to play more just in general. So here's to see what my man is eating on over here. Naruku's been sitting on the bench, probably giving them words of encouragement and cheering them on, waiting for his time to shine finally, the White Omen himself. So, man, what are we eating?
My man got caught red-handed thinking Fudo was going to come up for the interview. That was actually pretty good. But Nani-kun, whatever snack it was, he's glad the team won, and he said the snack he was having tastes really good. Great advertisement. That's a really solid way to get yourself that sponsorship. Didn't get to hear from Fudo yet, but it panned out to Akira again, saying that their mascot Nari-kun's doing a fantastic job, and they'll continue to do well.
Calling him the mascot, Nari-kun has he hasn't shown what what he's capable of yet. He's gone up against some very top-level contenders. Not like everybody else in here is not a top-level contender, but he has yet to show that. So hopefully next time that he does play, he'll be able to show that play. He is on the losing streak, but it's good. Once again, it's a team sport format, so you're able to provide a little bit of help while you sit on the stands and root for them. But now we're seeing some of these stats like that, the anti-airs on the side of both players, seeing anti-airs on the side of Fujimura and the side of Momochi. There wasn't a lot of jump on the side of Fujimura. I'm sorry, not Fujimura, of the poison pick when we have Fudo.
Yes.
So we didn't really see that many things of that come through. So overall, Fudo's play, we did see him jump in the corner and get that EX. Just decisions like that routed things and made, I think, Momochi feel uncomfortable. 30 points on the board for Team Oja Body Star, 10 points on the side of Shinobi Gaming. But again, Fudo's play just fantastic. You can really tell that they play each other quite a bit. That's why you see decisions of jumping into the corner and doing EX flip that could be -4 that could get him killed. That's why that works, because they play each other so much. That's why we see more of these matches. What do we see right here for Akira versus Yamaguchi?
Well, we saw a lot of aggression, right? Akira, with his patented playstyle, being nicknamed Lightning for a very good reason. Very aggressive at the very start of it. A couple of interesting decisions from the side of Yamaguchi, not being able to get some of these anti-airs going, not being able to use his trigger. Actually, there was a moment where he actually had to confirm into trigger, and he actually didn't spend it. He actually wanted to use it as a view reversal tool instead. But that was so impressive too from Akira in game number 2. However, as solid of a start this was in round 2, Yamaguchi was the one to actually take it down against them. You could see that W on the side of Yamaguchi, but we didn't get to see that too much. We're instead showcasing how fast the Speed Star really is in regards to how he gets these Ws. And the slight delay, and of course, baiting out the throw, Akira with his patented playstyle in the holiday outfit, mind you.
The power-up. The power-up was real right here for Fujimura to get that whip punish. We'll have to look at later on if there's a better punish. Maybe something that maybe not as damaging, but maybe not as expensive. Either way, though, Fujimura came to play with those big jump-ins, calling out the fireball tendencies of Daigo. He relied upon a lot of the fireballs in later on in these rounds, the view reversals, get some distance with it and some gray life, but it wasn't enough. Fujimura just not deterred, harassing with the medium kick, building up that EX bar, the medium punches. I like some of these sequences from Daigo, but Fujimura understood that Daigo wants to play out the corner, so I have to have a game plan against Daigo. I have to have a game plan. If I put him against the wall, I have to make him fall. How am I going to break down Daigo? Actually caught him walking in, and right here off that medium kick into the super to seal it. Fujimura doing what he does best and being optimal. Now let's take a look at the rest. We have Momochi versus Fudo. What happened here?
So what I actually wanted to know was why exactly Momochi had let off the gas with V-Trigger, like why he went into V-Trigger 2, because we've seen how successful he was out the bat, right? Like he's been able to call out some of the things that Fudo wanted to do. He found a lot of usage for V-Skill 2 against the V-Reversal, against the Heart Raid, but yeah, and then even the Zonk Knuckle, as close as that was, look at the amount of damage you get off of these lows, right? Off of these big openings, especially if Fudo wants to kind of like mess around and go with like a couple of backdashes on Wake Up. That's a really big way to call it out, but as it stands right now, despite these efforts, right, the jump forward short, the instant overhead was it's so hard to make those kind of calls. The anti-air department just not there. You were mentioning it earlier with the knife in hand. It's a lot harder. You're a little bit more susceptible to these jump-ins. So I was thinking maybe the pipe would have done it, but no, sir. No pipes here. And towards the end, you see him cooking up. That was so clever, too. You know, putting yourself back in the corner, you would think maybe a normal would come out or a throw to kind of reposition yourself, right? But Love Me Tender is just such a smart way to catch people off guard more often than not. And again, that jump out for the air
That was off
reset,
guard right there.
that was more than enough, right? Fudo has done a fantastic job of just avoiding the situations where he would get command grabbed or even meatied. Like as risky as that was, if it was like a medium punch or maybe like something a little bit faster, he would have been kept grounded. But he's assessed the situation, he's assessed the risk, and he's taken it, and it's paid off for him more often than not. So like it's really good decision making from the side of Fudo.
You put on something really great where I feel like the V-trigger switch was not to do it, being able to chase on the V-shifts and things like that, the back dashes, could have been easily done with the crouch medium punch, with the V-trigger stocked up and locked up. That could have been way better from Momochi. We'll have to see if that is another option that he chooses to do if they ever happen to play again, or any other Poison players, even outside of the league. But yeah, something we'll have to pick the Poison players' brains on, and maybe pick Momochi's brain on why he went for that option. But either way, is going to be their team, Fudo's team, leading the victory. 90 points so far, Game Force team out of 130, and that's a lot. Fudo out here being the breadwinner, being the one bringing home the bacon continuously with his Poison play, and he can play continuously. So great stuff for that team to make it through and stay solid in the face of somebody who labs out quite a bit of interaction. We saw Momochi labbing things out. Fudo just saving it for Street Fighter League Japan. Maybe that's it.
That's exactly what it is. We're going to see a lot more to come in the following weeks of Street Fighter League Japan. Just to kind of let you guys know, with week number 5 pretty much coming up around the corner, we do appreciate you guys. We just rounded out week number 4. These are the results, right? Good 8 squad getting a big 40 bomb against V6 Plus FAV Gaming. And then down below, Nagoya Ojo Body Stars, Mildom increasing their lead against the gang. And Shinobiism Gaming again falling away with 10 points. Not bad though. Despite taking the L, it's still 10 points on the board in contrast to what V6 had just experienced. And it's a very strong team, right? Look at that, right? You have such a strong group of individuals. Not being able to score a point has got to be like pretty important, right, going forward into the league. But as it stands right now, we still have to check out the leaderboards and see where everybody's at, as well as what's to come with week number 5. I'd imagine I can give you a little bit of a spoiler alert. Saishunkan Seoul Kumamoto and Nagoya Ojo Body Star is going to be on the away team, if I'm not mistaken. But looking at the current rankings right now, Good 8 Squad should be on the top because they've, gone undefeated thus far?
I do believe so. I mean, so far they've been clear as day, and that 40-point lead is going to be significant for them. All right, so them in that fantastically. Now I think that's super important. Obviously, this is early in the season. You still have many more weeks to come, but to have that early start and to have that continuous start right there shows that you're not only the #1 team to worry about, but also have a lead if there's a lack of a slacking week. If there's a week where you might be, off your game a little bit, or they come at you something different, you have a big lead right here. Only a 30-point lead between Ojo Body Star, but that's so significant compared to the other teams of Shinobiism Gaming, which is 80, Saishunkan Seoul Kumamoto at 4th, and the rest below. And after this is going to be FAV Gaming trying to get another shot against the points on the board against Saishunkan Seoul Kumamoto, and Good 8 Squad up on the deck once again against Ojo Body Star in the next edition of Street Fighter League Japan.
Really excited to see it, right? The #1 and 2 seeds get to duke it out. Good 8 Squad still running rampant with their current win streak. Nagoya Ojo Body Star is going to be feeling pretty good, especially with this week's win. On the other hand, right, Saishunkan Seoul Kumamoto has been rising up the ranks little by little from their performance over in week number 4. They got their big W against Gogun. It's going to be very difficult to see if they can match up against the Titans from the V6 squad, who are currently going to be hungry for this W, especially with the way they've been shut out this week. You can see the rest of the schedule here for day number 2. You're going to see Gogun start things off a little bit too fast for my taste, but I'll tell you what, we're going to tell you exactly how it plays out going forward, right? For week number 5, Hiroshima team Ikuza, as well as Shinobiism Gaming, Kamufa Detonation, and Gogun is going to be